happening, ladies and gentlemen? So I know tonight was a little bit different as far as the start to the whole system here, but we're glad you're hanging in there with us, and I will make sure that I will always be going live for you guys. The only reason I wouldn't go live is if I'm in bed extremely deathly sick. And even then, maybe I'd be like, babe, maybe bring in the mic, I can do it. So we're going to roll with it no matter what. As I mentioned there, we're going to get a time set up, hopefully for Ashley again, to be able to bring her back on. Things happen like this in life, and that's the way it goes. But we do have the one and only, the man, the myth himself, Chad Smith with us, and I'll be bringing him on here shortly. However, I'd like to give a shout out to those in our StreamYard already in the chat, as well as those I do see we are now streaming to Twitter, Twitter and Twitch, as well as 2 different Facebook groups and pages. So if you are watching there, welcome. I see we have 1 like from there, so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you'd like, you can hop on YouTube. It looks like YouTube is the only way, unfortunately, that I will be able to see your comments directly, unless someone wants to jump onto Twitch or Twitter and try that out. Feel free to, but I believe the only way I'll be able to see your comments is here in YouTube. Which, if you are here, please hit the like button, ring that bell so that you are notified each and every time we go live. You never know. Maybe we're just feeling frisky that day. Maybe we go live at noon. Maybe we go live at 4 a.m. We don't really know what could happen here in the garage. At any time, Old Blue or the Impala could be fired up. It could be out and about, traveling the cosmos, and you might miss out on it if you don't ring the bell. So please do that. Right off the bat, gold position. Right off the bat, Champ Campbell. Party. Right here, Artie, first place. Tammy Finnegan, welcome. Zero Cool, what's shaking, brother? Sun Saver from NHH, welcome. Chad Smith, oh my gosh, Chad Smith is also in the chat as well. What a coincidence, guys. Let's see who else we got here. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Chris Holm, what's happening, brother? By the way, that art is looking dope. I really like the one with the sharks of Dave Scott. I really like that one. Why? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's see, I want to make sure I got everybody. I don't miss any of you, because I love each and every one of you. Alien Girl 111, she says, yay, BigWilly. That's right. I'm excited you're here with us tonight. Let's see who else we got. Grandmaster, welcome. And I think that might be, oh, Allison, hey, what's shaking? And Wes H, I think I might have missed that one, but I see somebody saying hi to that. There we go. Wes H. All right, guys. So you guys keep it popping over there. I will keep on with it as much as possible, as we have all mentioned tonight. Captain Keystone, what's shaking? We are going to be doing ghost stories tonight. So I'd like to hit on a little bit of the lore of that, where that came from, the terminology. You know, it's one of those things people either love or hate. Maybe you're indifferent to it, but I find people have a lot of strong feelings when it comes to ghosts. And what we're going to be doing is, if you are up for it, we already have, I know at least 1, maybe 2 people are going to be calling in to share their stories. If you are feeling it, please come in, hop in Old Blue. You know what I always say, what happens in the van stays in the van, right? Except for the internet, who will be watching as well. Doug Creek Customs, welcome. Heck yeah. But yeah, if anybody wants to share anything, whether it be if you write me in the chat, you can try that version. I'll do my best to read it for you. Or the easiest way would be if you hop into our the StreamYard with me and share the story. You don't even have to be video. You can just do audio. All right, what else we got going? The other important thing, how can we forget about this? Right here, guys. This is an important one. Manscaped, cleared for takeoff. Would you guys look at this? Your balls will thank you. And I will keep pounding the table for this, because it is a fantastic deal. If you use the promo code UFOGARAGE, all capitalized, you will get not only 20% off on your order, plus free shipping. That's pretty sweet. And as I keep saying, treat your family jewels like the jewels they truly are. Because we all know when you venture to the nether regions, it's best to take professional help. Once again, that code is Manscaped, or it is UFO Garage, all capitalized, and the links will be in the show notes as well. And if you're listening in podcast format, slide on down there, links to the many ways you can stay in touch with me. You can email me if you'd like to be in the garage, or you can email the boys over at the garage as well. And if you'd like to be on their show. So let's get that out of the way here. We really appreciate that, by the way. I'm excited. We'll see what happens with Manscaped. Hopefully it's working out for them. Hopefully they're getting some sales from this, and hopefully we can work out a long-term relationship. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough of my voice in here. Let's get a professional on here. That's right, the great ball toner, as Y mentions here. Some here in the chat know that follow the group. Ben is a fan of this on his neck, which I feel leads us to the only conclusion, and anyone who's watched Men in Black, he might be a Balchinian. I don't want to start too many rumors, but the man's putting ball toner on his neck. We're not saying you shouldn't do it. We're just saying he might be the only one doing it. So anyways, let's go ahead and bring in Chad Smith. Brother, what is shaking tonight? Thank you so very, very much for hopping on here and saving my rear end tonight. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. I happen to have a clean hoodie on, so or a clean hoodie for the UFO garage, so it all worked out. It worked out perfect.
Look at you. You got sticker over there too?
I got stickers. I got hoodies, t-shirts.
That's right. If you guys like to support the show at UFOGaragePodcast.com, that is a great way to stay in touch with them and also support the show. So thank you very much for obviously showing much love over there. I believe, can people get hello, my name is Chad Smith?
They can. Yep. Yeah, it looks like a little hello, my name is tag, and then it looks like I signed it. It says Chad Smith. And then it has an awesome UFO Garage logo on the whole back of the shirt. It looks awesome.
Nice.
So make sure you gotta go over there and you buy 20 of them each. You need 20 of them for each family member.
That's right.
Christmas is coming.
Right. Let's see what else really quick. Oh, by the way, I would like to mention one thing, guys, and then I will move on. I will have a kind of weird, awkward live Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, guys, the 27th at 9 p.m., still the same time, with the one and only David Wise, or as most know him, Flat Earth Dave. It will be a little bit different. We're not going to be using StreamYard for some certain reasons, so we'll be doing Zoom. There won't be as much interaction as far as me being able to interact with the chat and send questions in that way. So what I'd love you guys to do is send me questions. Send me questions now. Anything that you think absolutely 100% proves the Earth is definitely a heliocentric or is a sphere, please send it to me, because I won't be able to interact with you that evening, unfortunately. But I am excited to have that interview and see what he says. I mean, I'm one of those guys who's an open-minded person. If you were to come up to me and were like, yeah, we're all crabs from the waist down, I'd be like, let's sit down. How did you come to this conclusion? Let's talk about it, right? I just want to know. I'm a very open person that way. So I'm excited to see what happens with him, what he brings to the table. I think it's going to be a good time all around. So anyways, Chad.
What's up, man?
What do you feel? Long time no talk, first of all, right?
Hey, you know what? We only did 7 hours yesterday, so there's still fuel in the tank.
I don't think people know how much we party in the back scenes, even when we're not live, guys. There's always a party around. I'll tell you what.
There's always a party going on.
Heck yeah. Let's see, really quick. What do you know about or feel far as when it comes to ghosts? Because I'd love to, in a minute, read just a little bit of a background on what you think. But what comes to Chad Smith's mind when he hears the person say, Chad, bro, I seen a ghost the other night. What comes to mind for you?
First of all, I totally believe you. I'm not one of those people that's like, I am a skeptic, but I'm very open-minded. So if you tell me that you saw a ghost and we're friends, probably going to believe you. I'm definitely somebody you can come to with that information. But I'm not an experiencer, so I haven't seen a ghost. I think I might have heard a ghost one time knocking on my bathroom door, but as far as seeing one, I haven't seen one yet. So, I'm open-minded, but pretty skeptical, and I'd love to see a ghost someday, but just hasn't happened yet.
Right. That's the thing is, we always talk about, because here, I think most of us here in the chat, and perhaps those listening right now, would say that they feel that they have a belief system in aliens or possibly extraterrestrial life in whatever format that may be. But every once in a while, you encounter those people who believe absolutely that ET is here in whatever capacity and exists. And they have an issue when it comes to the idea of an apparition or a ghost. And there seems to be kind of a hard line in the sand every once in a while. And I've always found that intriguing. I wonder why there are these encampments, almost as it were, is that I belong to the Bigfoot community, or I belong to the paranormal community, or I am strictly into ufology. Have you encountered this much yourself?
You mean as far as encountering people that have that opinion, or?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that you can be literally, so let's say for your instance, let's say you're talking to me even. Let's just use me. I won't use anybody else again. Let's say you're talking to Will, and you're like, what? I think Will, he's into this UFO stuff, and he's into a lot of that. And I'd seen this ghost the other night. I'm going to go tell him about it. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there going, bro, Can we come back? Come on, bring it back to reality. Let's talk
Right.
about, you know what I mean? And it's
Let's
this
talk
weird
about
give and take.
aliens, okay?
Exactly.
Let's talk about what we know is real. You're like, well, how do you know aliens are real?
100%.
Yeah, I'm actually in the camp where I think everything's connected. I saw this cartoon picture. I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but it was like all the different conspiracies sitting around at a table playing cards. And the table is like, I think the table was Earth. I can't remember. But it's just like, Bigfoot's sitting there. There's an alien sitting there all propped up with his cards. And it's all the different things all connected. And it's like, I think everything is all the same thing. We compartmentalize everything to make everything separate, but I think everything's the same something.
I agree. I just noticed something interesting, by the way. Two things. Well, number one, Lewis says ghosts are in dimensions we just can't see. Could very well be. I did notice right here, UFO Garage says, "What's everyone sipping on tonight?" And that was me, but that came through from Twitch. Guys, I'm not on Twitch, but I do see there are some comments coming through from
That's
Facebook
strange.
as well. Yeah, maybe it's just being sent out. So maybe if anybody's in those other groups could let me know. Maybe when I typed that in, maybe it went out. I don't know. We're still
Lewis has to
figuring
keep
out.
his figure, so he's drinking White Claws. You got to keep those carbs down, bro. It's very
Yeah.
important.
That's why I'm drinking that tea tonight. Drinking that tea. So let me read this really quick. And then I believe it looks like we already have at least one person backstage, guys. So we already got one lined up. And like I said, if anybody else is up for it tonight, feel free. You don't have to. This is a judgment-free zone in the Big Willie van. We're out riding the cosmos. As you can see, we're in a creepy background tonight. I got a little bit of a creepy background set up for us. And I just want to hear your story. And it doesn't have to always directly be a ghost story. It can be just anything strange that's ever happened to you. Has anything, as Joe put up on his page the other day, and he got great responses, was, have you ever experienced something you just cannot explain? But since we did mention ghosts, I'm just going to read everyone's most reliable source right here, Wikipedia, guys.
Oh,
In case
you
you're
can always trust that.
100%. And I just was curious. I was like, well, let me go check it out. I just want to see what it says if I just simply type in the word ghost. All right. And what it says is, in folklore, a ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person or animal that can appear to the living. In ghost lore, descriptions of ghosts vary widely, from an invisible presence to a translucent or barely visible wispy shapes, to realistic like-life forms. The deliberate attempt to contact the spirit of a deceased person is known as necromancy, or in spiritism as a seance. Other terms associated with it are an apparition, haunt, phantom, poltergeist, shade, specter or spectra, spirit, spook, wrath, demon, and ghoul. So every once in a while, that is a curious thing now that I'm thinking about it, because I've heard people, I think if someone just told me out of the blue, they were like, bro, I seen a ghoul. I'd be like, what the French? What are you talking about? What is a ghoul? I would have had to look that one up for sure.
Oh, I would have went directly to Wikipedia for Google. I'm not sure.
Trust Wikipedia, guys. Always
Absolutely.
trust Wikipedia. By the way, if anybody, I love this from Lewis. The van needs a keg installed. Oh my,
Ooh,
oh
that's
my,
very
keg.
good point.
And if anybody has a question once we get rolling here, please try to put it in caps, and I will do my best to answer it. And if I did miss it, please feel free to put it back up there again, because sometimes I do miss it. I get distracted. All right, guys, let's dig into this. It looks like we have our first guest back stage right now. Zach, it looks like the name is. So let me get this off here, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring on Zach as well. And let's see right here. I read one thing here real quick that was kind of intriguing to me. The Native Americans, so from Grandmaster right here, the Native Americans said that we're all from the Pleiadians. Or wait, did you mean Pleiadians?
Pleiades?
Yo,
like the
bro,
Pleiades, like the star constellation?
Pleiades? We should go to Wikipedia for that right now?
Absolutely.
I feel like
Absolutely.
you go to Wikipedia, you check that, and I'm going to bring in our guest
I'll do a good
backstage
old copy
here.
paste on that.
Heck yeah. We're going to get some answers about that. Alrighty.
Hey, what's up?
Zach, what's happening, brother? Appreciate
Not
you
much.
calling in for us.
Oh yeah. Anytime.
How's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good.
Very,
How's
very
it going
nice.
for you?
Oh, we're getting excited, man. We're coming closer and closer to the big night, right? We're what, one week out, about roughly week or 8 days. We're 8 days away from Halloween, so
Yep.
we're moving right along. I'm excited to I'm going to be doing a little like mini podcast with just my kids and stuff. I have to get done trick-or-treating for Halloween. So I'm excited to see what they're going to talk about, what their little curious minds come up with. It'll be interesting. But yeah, so you mentioned that you've had, or your family's had, some experiences in
Yeah.
relation to apparitions or ghosts. So roughly, give or take, how did this come about, or what took place, I guess?
So, well, hold on, you can explain it to him. Here.
You had the experience.
Yeah, I've had, and but my mom and my cousin have had more than I have, so like they have better stories than I do. So that's why I have them here tonight to explain what they've experienced.
Okay, very nice.
But I've had a few experiences myself before, but nothing like my mom.
So none of us were really believers until my grandmother passed away. And she said that she would definitely haunt, the way she put it, which I won't say what the words that she said, but the way she put it were, I'm going to haunt all of you SOBs.
Yeah.
And she certainly did.
Wow.
Interesting.
She certainly did.
Well, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on tonight. I did not get your name. What's your name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, thank you very much for taking the time out of your evening to come on here and share with us. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
Is it okay if I ask a couple questions in relation to this story?
Sure.
Okay. So now, prior to this, you guys said you were not believers, and then she must have been joking throughout life. Was it always a joke of hers to say, "Hey, if I ever pass away, I'm gonna make sure I hang around and screw with you guys"?
Yeah, pretty much. And she did.
Very nice. Do you mind if it's okay to ask, after her passing, was it something that happened very quickly, or how did that story come about, I guess?
It pretty much happened fairly quickly. So my aunt came up from Texas and came and stayed with us with her sister at my house, Zach's grandmother's. And so Zach's grandmother came and stayed at our house, and then my aunt came and stayed too. And yep, pretty much everybody got, my son came up and said, hey Mom, what's it mean when it's like really cold in my room and I can see my breath? He's like, never mind, I already know the answer to that.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh boy. And then pretty much that night, my mother felt it in one separate room, my aunt felt it in another separate room, and then at one point my husband and I were in our bed, and I said, hey, why is the window open? He's like, I didn't open the window. I'm like, the window's open. He's like, no, it isn't. And this is in March, like really cold weather. And it was really cold in the room. So, and I could see my breath. And I said, yep, Grandma said she was going to haunt every one of us. And she did. All in the same night, in the same house.
Wow.
Did she pass away? And I hope it's okay did she pass away in the home, or was it separate from there?
Nope, it was, she had a stroke, and then she was in a nursing home, and then she had, she passed away.
Oh.
But she pretty much went through the whole family.
Yeah, remember?
Not gonna lie.
Remember that one night you had the babysitter over for us, and the door started slamming?
Nope, that was after Pat.
Was that
passed
after
away.
Pat?
Mm-hmm.
That's another story for later
You
on.
guys have a lot of stories over there, huh?
And you know what? Honestly, I never believed in it, and I'm not even kidding with you. These are true stories. Like, I'm not even joking.
Oh, we believe you.
Because
You're in a safe spot here.
What's that?
I said you're in a safe place here. Everyone here believes in ghosts. So.
Well, I didn't believe in it, believe me, until it happened. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Yep.
And no,
Now,
that was actually with Grandma.
Yeah, that
Because
was with the grandma.
My sister-in-law came to babysit Zach and Destiny, and what ended up happening was the door slammed in the downstairs. And I'm like, there's no windows open down there. This was in the basement with their bedrooms. And there's no way that could have happened. There's no wind, there's no windows open, there's no anything. And yeah, the doors were slamming.
And she never came back to babysit.
My sister-in-law never came back to babysit.
That was the end of that, huh?
Yes,
She
it
had all she
was.
could handle.
She was like, "Yeah, no, I'm done." But that is true.
I'm so sorry for your loss of your grandma. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Allison. That's awesome.
Thank you very much, Allison. And that was kind of what my other question was. Was it a one-time kind of thing?
But yeah, there's lots of stories for tonight. I'm telling you right now.
And my
what was that?
cousin Billy has a few herself, and I could add to that myself because my ex-husband passed away, but we'll save that for later.
For sure. Yeah. I guess let's do this then. Let's break it down, if you guys are okay, in a chronological order. So the first passing was your grandmother, correct? And was it
My grandmother.
one-
Yeah, Zach's. Yep.
Oh, Zach, you guys are breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you have something.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah, I
better.
can hear you there.
Your video is breaking up, like your video is frozen though. So I don't know if you're just pulling too many.
There you go. I can hear you now though. What I was asking is, was it just that evening that you had interact where she kind of went through everybody and met everybody that evening? Did you guys have anything after that particular night?
Yes, actually, I came home one day after going to the store, and the door was wide open, and I double checked, triple checked, because I'm OCD that way. And the door was literally open after I had checked it, make sure it was locked when I walked out of it. And so finally I just said, "Hey, Grandma, look, it's really expensive to heat the house, so you need to stop leaving my door open." Praising God,
I
that's
love that.
true, even though it's kind of funny. But that's what I said to her, and she just kept like messing with me really bad. But we were really close too. But she just kept messing with me, and finally I called the preacher that did her funeral, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't know what to do here, but she keeps messing with me." And he's like, "Well, she's kind of in between, so you need to go through and pray her out of the house." And after I did that, it kind of stopped with her. But I had to go through each and every room to like pray her out of the house.
All I gotta say
Wow.
is just some goodies coming to your guys' way tonight with the stories.
No, it's not a story. It's a true.
No, it's true stories, but there's some goodies coming your guys' way.
Some goodies.
Because that doesn't end there with my grandmother. She just literally made it the start of the story. Like the start of, oh my God, now maybe I should believe in this stuff, because I really didn't.
Is it okay if I ask about how long ago that was, timeline-wise?
When did my grandma pass away? We were still living with your dad.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
2000. Was it?
It was way
Seven?
before. It was way.
2007, right?
It was before. No, it was before Pat.
Before Pat.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a long time ago.
I'm gonna say at least. I'm gonna say like maybe 20 years ago,
20
because my mom's
Okay.
been gone for a little while, and so was my ex-husband.
Oh yeah, I have some stories for them about what happened to me with grandma after she passed away. Oh boy,
I gotcha. So
it was bad.
Not so good.
No.
But I told
Well,
you she always has my back, even when she is not here.
Yep.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is after this incident happened and you guys kind of went through, I guess, and whatever term you want to use, climbed the house or helped her pass the next side. What was the next incident that took place for you guys in regards to a
Next
paranormal
incident?
event?
Did you say the next incident?
Yeah, I guess that was to say, or what was the next step, I guess, that in this process? I mean, let me ask it this way. After you guys did the process of cleansing the house and maybe moving things out and helping her transition to that next side,
Yep.
did you kind of just tuck it away for a little bit in the back of your head? Like maybe that was just, at a certain point, did you start to think, maybe it was my imagination? Maybe this didn't really take place. And then if so, what was the next thing that kind of cued it out for you to go, maybe this is something I really, really need to pay attention to?
Yeah, kind of, like I just kind of forgot about it. And then I have two older boys. They're in their they're in their early 30s and then late 20s. Their dad passed away. And we had to go. It's kind of a horrible thing, but we had to go clean out their dad's apartment building because their grandfather was like, well, you guys can have whatever's in there, clean out his apartment. So that really sucked because that was an unexpected death. And so we cleaned out the apartment, and my boys took everything to our house, which was where my grandmother kind of spooked us a little bit. And we took everything over there, and my son would run up the stairs and be like, Mom, why does the clock keep going, like really fast? And then it stops at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Well, I'm not really sure, but my guess is that's when Dad passed away, and I called Dad for like days on end over and over and over again, and I got no answer. And then when said, look, Pat passed away, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't a good thing. So I went up to where his dad was and talked to his dad a little bit. And, things just started happening from there. So we would smell beer and cigarettes. And that's what got everything going. So the clock would go, and then it would stop at a certain time, and then you'd smell
and drink
cigarette smoke, and you'd smell alcohol, like beer, stale beer. And that was just really weird for us to smell that, but that's what started happening next.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't believe in this until my grandmother and my ex passed away, and there it was right in front of me, and I didn't have no choice but to believe in it. Because they were telling me.
And you also went to a reading or the psychic.
I did. I went to a psychic.
That could be a story for tonight too.
I went to a psychic, and they did tell me that, unfortunately, which I don't really like, I kind of have a little bit of a psychic ability, and so does one of my children, not Zach, but one of my other boys. And that I don't like that. I don't like that gut feeling that I get, and then things are real. I don't like that, but got to deal with it.
Yep.
For sure. That's, I guess I can't speak directly to this. I certainly can, because it's not a gift. Why? Maybe some don't view it as a gift. Some might view it as a burden or a cross to bear, but
I would say it's a burden sometimes.
Yeah.
When you?
I was going to say.
I don't think it's a burden.
Yeah.
My cousin seems to think it's a gift.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, to each their own. I mean, you never know. But I could see how it'd be a lot if those that have passed maybe are coming to you, and maybe you're the only tie between them and the next realm, whatever the next step is for them, and they're trying to maybe finish some sort of unfinished business, but for that person to have to deal with that's a lot.
Yeah. I can tell you this. There were times when, like, I was taking some college courses, and this is a little creepy. I don't really like to tell about it, but there was like
people want to hear the psychic story.
A double doors, and I was sitting doing my homework at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and this is a little freaky. I don't like it, but doing my homework, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, hell no. And I look, and yep, there's like an image, and it's my ex. And it was a little uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't really want to be here right now. So I go in and I jump in bed with my hubby. And all of a sudden, like, I'm by the door. First, before I jump in bed, I'm by the door, and I go to turn off the light, and I hear, Shirley, like really quietly, and it's in the voice of my ex. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And I literally jumped from the doorway into the bed. I did not like that feeling at all.
Wow. Yeah, that Gave me goosebumps.
It
Say
gave
that.
me
I don't need the psychic
goosebumps.
story.
Trust me when I tell you, I did not like it.
Yeah.
So
Now,
that's just how that went. And, ever since I've just, I don't know,
was this
and I went to a psychic, and that's what she told me. I had me and one of my children have psychic abilities, and not necessarily liking that, but at the same time, I can tell you that my gut feeling is usually always on the money. Always on the money. You can ask Zach for that, because he's had some girlfriends that probably weren't very good for him. And I explained that to him. And he's like, how do you know all this stuff, Mom? I'm like, I don't know, but I just know it. So,
Moms always know.
well, it's either a sixth sense, a psychic ability, or it's just a motherly instinct. I really don't know for sure, but I'm not real comfortable with it all the time. Trust me.
No, so that was because that was the question I was going to ask you. That was the experience essentially, but you went to the psychic. You said you had an interesting experience. I just wanted to make sure because one of our listeners was asking in regards to that. Is that essentially the story or that
Yep.
aspect of it? Okay.
Well, tell them the whole story.
Which part of the story?
Whole psychics.
Being at the psychics, and I thought that it was kind of vague until she started explaining things that my ex and I did in certain aspect of our lives, and I'm like, no, only one person would know that besides me, and that would be my ex. And that was the one that passed away, and I was like, no. Like, you're not telling me this story right now. And it would be stuff like we would do at really late at night that people don't normally do or shouldn't even know about.
Right.
See, I'm usually pretty skeptical when it comes to that stuff, but if somebody was bringing up information like that only one other person would know, then that would...
Yeah, like, not to be weird or anything, but I mean, I shouldn't even tell you guys this stuff. Like,
yeah, we might have to switch to a different channel. No.
Oh, but we used to have sex in the hallway late at night, like 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, and nobody else knew that but him and I, and nobody ever caught us. And that shouldn't even been anything that anybody else should have ever known about.
Right.
And that was really embarrassing, and that's when I started crying on the tape. And then she stopped the tape, and then she, continued the tape after that. But that's not cool.
I'd hate to see the comments right now.
Know that. I'm just saying.
Really quick too, because what I would like to do is move in the same chronological order after this event. But one of our listeners, Luis Montez, what's up, brother, has a question for you. He said, I have so many questions. Does she believe or ever had a ghost or spirit be physical? I felt something pull on my feet. My grandpa had the same experience. So essentially that's what they're interested in. Have you, and if it rolls into the next part of your story, that's completely okay. But have you ever had a physical interaction with a being? Personally,
I have never had that personal experience. However, my daughter came to me one day and said, I saw like a light. This was after my mom passed away. Okay. She passed away in 2015. She said, I saw a light. It was like a round light. And I'm like, okay, it must be an orb. And I didn't like pursue that. Okay. I didn't like ask any more questions about that. And then Zach came to me and he said, hey, mom, I saw a light, a round light. And I'm like, okay.
Like an orb.
Yeah, like an orb. Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, okay. And then I left that alone. I didn't I didn't explore that any further with either one of my children. And then my mom's boyfriend came over. This was after she passed away, like a year later. And my sister was there too. And we all went out and we had a few drinks. And I'm sitting there at the table with my sister, and she's like, hey. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I just saw something. And I'm like, okay, what was it? And she's like, I just saw a light. It was like a round light. And it went from the kids' room to your room back to the kids' room. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, both of the kids have told me the same story. I've never talked to them about that. And I've never, this is the first time I'm telling you about it. So I'm assuming my mom, because, she was the next one that passed away, and literally the last one that passed away that I really loved. And so that's the only thing, that's the only way I can explain that, is that it was her orb. And three of them saw it. I've never
At
seen
different
it.
times.
But it was all different times. And the only thing that I experienced was when my stepmom said to me, your brother should really be involved with getting some ashes from your mom. And I'm like, if my brother came to me and apologized, maybe I would give him some ashes of my mom. But, he's kind of not a very nice person. And, I don't feel like I owe him anything. Maybe if he apologized for the way he treated me and my mom during the time of her death, maybe then I would give him some ashes. Well, then my door, I had my door shut. I had to work at like 2. I had to be up at 2 a.m, be to work. And then all of a sudden my door opened and slammed. So I'm yelling to my son, and I'm yelling to my daughter, like, hey, why are you guys coming to my room so late at night? But then what ended up happening was I got up and I went to look, and neither one of them were even awake. So then I'm thinking, my mom was really upset that I was going to give my brother any ashes, because, he was just so mean to her, like on a Tuesday, and my mom died on a Saturday, and she had cancer, and she came home with us, which I told them that she should not come home with me, that I didn't want her to come home with me because she wasn't even eating at the hospital. And then, they let her come home, and that's, my brother was kind of not very nice to her at all. And then all that happened, and I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, you're very connected, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't really like it. A little too connected for my liking. And actually, the psychic told me, if you just let your ex-husband come in, you can like flourish from that and, do a lot from that. And I'm like, nope, I don't even like it.
But the thing is, some spirits act like they're part of your family, but they aren't, and then they're bad spirits.
I understand that, but even just not even thinking about that, I don't like feeling that way. I would just rather not.
Yeah,
that's just my feeling, how I am and who I am. Right. I'd rather not, but on the other hand, my cousin would rather feel the things that she feels, and I just rather not.
Yeah,
I want to hear from her a little bit. She had some cool stories earlier. And
hey guys,
hey, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Good. So I
actually do believe. I've always believed, and I have had some things happen to me. My father had passed away from cancer. He had lung cancer, and it went to his liver. And my dad and I were, and so he had passed away. I was about 10 after 11, on the 24th of January, 2018. And I had left. And actually what happened is my friend was still there, and he said that my dad had a walker. It was my grandmother's walker that had passed away. And the walker was sitting in the living room. And actually what happened is the walker like traveled the entire side from the living room to the kitchen. And I didn't know this because I wasn't there. And he told me like a couple weeks later, he's like, well, I just want to let you know your dad probably is still here. And I just started crying, and I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot have this happen. Like, he needs to move on. Once you lose your body, you have to leave. And he had come through my phone. He had come through his girlfriend's at work. She was sitting there at her desk, and she had like a bowl sitting by her desk, and the bowl just literally jumped on the floor and broke. And we're like, wow, really? So anyway, so I was going to we were going to sage the house, and because I was just scared to death that he was still stuck here. But from what I understand is sometimes when you lose your body, you are so used to being in this place that it takes time to move on. Mm-hmm. So he actually did move on, thank goodness. But that was pretty scary for me. Also, my dad had a necklace, and my uncle gave it to him, and I don't remember what it was. But it was like a protection necklace, something like that. And then my dad the chain broke. And I think that's when he had gotten cancer, and that's kind of crazy to me. But he had come through to me a lot of times through the phone. My phone would just, the only way I can describe it, and it's the weirdest way to describe it, is like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when the little guy gets in the camera, and then he's a million pieces all up above the camera. And then he's like floating around in little particles. And that's what happened on my phone just for maybe 10, 20 seconds.
Recently, right?
Yeah. I mean, Dad died quite a few years ago. And it like randomly what happened. I'm like, okay, this can't be a coincidence. But yeah, I mean, I believe that, when you lose somebody, they're still there with you. And they show up in different ways for sure. Definitely if you can go and see a psychic or a medium, and people that can get through to the other side, because sometimes we have the ability, we just don't know how to use the ability, I would say.
Or we don't want to.
Yeah, I would like to.
You have that ability.
I know, because once you lose that person that's so very close to you in your life, you just want to know that they're still there, and they absolutely are still there. Yeah. Their energy. Once we lose our body, we're nothing but energy, and energy can go through electricity, it can go through light, it can go through anywhere that it needs to go. Sometimes,
like
it just
flickering.
Yeah,
sure.
it just doesn't always. They can't communicate the way that they could when, like, we're communicating right now.
Right.
But it is absolutely, it's pretty amazing stuff.
And might I have the pleasure to have known, I forgot to ask you, what was your name, by the way?
Oh, it's Billy.
Billy, very nice. Thank you very much as well for making time to share this, and for all three of you for taking the time to share what are some very personal stories to you guys. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on here.
But for any listeners out there, like I said, just absolutely believe in your instincts and believe in your gut and believe in what you see, because sometimes we do think, am I really seeing what I'm seeing? But trust me when I tell you, you really are seeing what you're seeing.
And believe me when I tell you, when you have a gut feeling, it's really real. Trust it.
Yeah, go with your gut. No doubt.
Always go with your gut.
Absolutely.
Always go with your gut.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Now, Billy, were you involved for some of these instances that were discussed tonight with some of the encounters? I know that you guys mentioned that with Zach, he had some major encounters with your mother. Was that kind of the next step in the chronological order here?
No, actually, Shirley and I are cousins. We're not sisters. So I did not have the same encounters that she did. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Now, have you had encounters yourself then? I guess since we have you on with us right now, have you had any encounters yourself?
Recently I just had, I get some really weird stuff going on my phone. Just kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just real quick. And I mean, through my earbud, and I've had these for over a year. But every time I think about my dad, really like just wandering, doing my job, thinking about him, things here and there. And then I'll just have kind of some strange things happen. And I'm like, okay, it's gotta be my dad. It has to be Dad. Here he is. Hi, Dad. What are you doing? And actually this morning, my mom and I went up and planted some flowers at his grave. Because we were trying to figure out all summer long what we wanted to do. And we couldn't figure it out. So she bought some tulips and stuff like that. So you have to plant those in the fall. So we went up there today. So I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be my dad because we're thinking about him. And he usually comes through like that. And then I had gone to, she's not a psychic, she's a medium. Mediums really can kind of speak to the past. She can speak through the souls that have gone before. Whereas a psychic is more like they can kind of read your future. They can tune in more into you. So I always went to a medium so she can speak to the people that I've lost. And she really, would tell me that, your dad's going to come through electronics. He's going to come through things like that, because he is energy now, and energy can travel through any energy that they choose. And he absolutely does. And he doesn't do it all the time, but he definitely does, especially when I'm thinking about him. I think he kind of lets me know, like, hey, I'm still here. Still want to chat with you. Still love you. It's like, yep, love you too, Dad. Miss you to pieces.
I feel like definitely the flickering light sometimes definitely says, hello, I'm here.
Yep.
For sure.
Would you guys think that perhaps anyone has this ability? No, I think some have a heightened ability compared to others, but do you think that there are those that could have a ability learned, that all of us have this going on and we've just tuned it out over time?
Absolutely. I think that we all have the ability. I think that especially children. So here's one little story I had.
I have a story for that one too.
So when my dad first passed away, my brother, he had a little girl, my niece, and she was, I think she was not even a year old at that point. And she was talking to us, the medium, and she had said, oh, your dad is standing right behind you and he has hands on your shoulder. And of course she was little, and kids have the ability. So she kept going, hot, as she's sitting there saying, your dad's hands are on your shoulders. And we're looking around, we're going, there's nothing hot, there's nothing changed, nothing at all. And there is, my niece, and my brother just started crying, like, you got to be kidding me. So yes, I absolutely believe that when we're kids, we have no choice but to feel what's going on around us.
Yeah.
When we get older, we choose to kind of have logical thinking, like, well, if I can't see it, it's not there. But as kids, we don't have that logical thinking yet. We're not trained and attuned to that yet.
So if I could add to that, my grandson. So okay, here's a different story. My daughter's grandmother. Okay, so like her dad's mom passed away, and then her grandmother, which would be my mom, passed away. They passed a year away from each other. Okay, so in November, literally in November, and so my little grandson's sitting in the kitchen one day, and my daughter got freaked out because I'm like, he's like waving like a real lot, and I'm like, okay, he's waving at somebody, but I don't know who he's waving at. And the only thing I can think of is both grandmas, because both grandmas were really close to Destiny, which is my daughter. And, it's just everything happened like with my daughter, with her pregnancy. Her grandmother on my mom, on not on my side, but on her dad's side. So her dad's mom passed away first, and it would be everything hearts. So she would pee in the toilet and there'd be like a heart of blood. Like, I swear to God, if God struck me dead right now, I swear to God, if she was here, she would tell you this. Yes. So like all hearts, everything hearts. So she would have hearts of blood in the toilet. I'm like, those two planned this pregnancy. I'm going to choke them both, even though they're not here. But anyway, no, seriously, on a serious note, her grandmother would everything hurts. Her grandmother on her side, everything hurts. And it was, it was kind of freaky, and we'd be walking down the street and I'd be like, oh, there's a leaf and it looks like a heart. I better take a picture. But no, seriously, in all reality, that's what happened. So
Wow.
yeah. It's kind of
No,
weird. You know, this stuff is really weird, but
yeah, absolutely.
it really does happen. Like I said, they all made a believer out of me.
Watch some shit happen to us tonight after we just got done talking about all of it, you know. Like we'll have more stories for you guys.
Oh well.
Well, I was gonna say what we'll do is because we do have some other listeners in here as well. So what I'd like to do is give you guys about I don't know how much more you have to share, but I'd like to give you guys some time here to share it because Zach, we haven't gotten to what might have happened to you in your encounter. So if you're okay with sharing that or whatever you guys think you'd like to share, maybe the next say 10, 15 minutes here, feel free to.
I can share a little bit more, but we'll wait.
Okay. No worries. Yeah, no, we can always set up another time to have you back on, or once we get through some other guests, if time has waned off, because we'll be on till almost midnight tonight.
If
We've
you
got 2
want to
more
know,
hours.
I'll tell you the truth. So my older dad, my older children's dad, I have 2 older children with a different dad.
Okay.
That was the one that would, you know, set the clocks and all that.
Smoke around,
yeah. Yeah. But anyway, he comes back in a smell, like a cigarette smoke. And before he would come back at my old house in a alcohol and a cigarette smell and almost like a formaldehyde smell, which was really weird to me, but made sense because he was kind of decayed by the time they found him passed away, and he was, you know, in his chair for a few days, and that was not cool because I had to go in and clean out the apartment, and I couldn't breathe right next to that chair, and I said to my older son, I'm like, I can't breathe next to the chair because there's something about the chair with your dad. I can't breathe. And it ended up being where that particular psychic told me that I had psychic abilities. Said, you know, Pat, always try to talk to your daughter, which was 3 at the time. And he would try to talk to her, and she wouldn't really talk to him. You know, he's like, oh, you know, I really like Barney, but I haven't watched Barney since, you know, your older brother. And, you know, he got to sit there and watch Barney with her. But I don't know, it's just weird stuff because he would try to get her to talk to him. And then after he passed away, she was on the couch one night, and I was remarried at that point. And I said to my husband, I said, Destiny is having a full-on conversation out there, and this is kind of weird. And he's like, nah, she's probably just dreaming. But the stuff that she told me a few years later, like when she was a teenager, she's like, you know, I did have a conversation with Pat. I asked him how he flew through the window. And, you know, she would ask him, you know, questions and stuff like that, which I thought was really weird.
It gave me
Kind of gave me a weird gut feeling. But he, for so long, tried to get her to talk to him, and she would not ever speak to him. But then when he flew through the window,
it's because kids have the ability.
They do have the ability. They do. And kids and animals have the ability. They for sure do. But that's what happened there. And I was like, okay. And then after she had her son, my daughter had her son. She's 19. She had her baby. She was 18 when she had him, but now she's 19. But when the baby first came home, I'm like, do you smell that smell? And they're like, yeah, I smell cigarette smell. And that's how he comes to us, in a cigarette smell. My ex-husband. Or no, it's usually always cigarettes now.
Yeah.
And literally, I was over my grandson. We were all in the living room. There was like me, Zach, Hunter, and Destiny, and Kobe. And literally, we could all smell the cigarette smoke. Maybe not Kobe because he was a baby. He didn't tell us, but literally smell that cigarette smoke, and I'm like, y'all smell that? I'm like, Pat's come to visit.
Wow, that's
So
great. That's cool.
it's
And you
kind of
guys definitely
creepy
are
though,
not.
if you think about that. I don't
Well, it's
really
just,
like it.
but I don't think it is. I mean, and the only reason I say that is just for the reasoning that we've heard many other people talk about passed on loved ones manifesting in that manner
Yeah.
before they see them, before they even feel the energy. They'll actually get that smell, which is really intriguing to me. But it's so interesting how a smell, and I think we've all experienced this. Maybe you used to have a certain cooked meal when you were a kid at your grandparents' house, or a certain candle that was
Absolutely.
associated with a place, and it brings back all those memories upon that smell or catching a whiff of it. So to me, it makes sense. Um, so but what I'd like to do is really quick, because we're getting stacked up. We got a couple more in the back, which is a good thing, you guys. Anybody who wants to join tonight, please feel free to hop on and share stories. So Zach, did you want to share anything tonight before you guys get out of here, or would you like to save that for another time?
I mean, I really want to share it, but
No, feel
probably
free.
probably
We
another
have
time. But like, because you said you have other people in the back and stuff.
we have time. We have two other people, and we're trying to give time for everybody. So I would love. We're here to hear ghost stories. So please feel free to
All right,
share what
I
you
have one
experienced.
little short one for you guys.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
dude.
All right, so
And I always told you, Mama's always watching you,
so after my
which
grandma
is my mom.
passed away, my mom's mom, she told me to stay out of her room one day, and well, I didn't listen when she left. I went in there and got me a soda. Well, when I was bending down to get the soda, my shirt lifted up halfway off my back and then like slammed down. And I was
Whoa.
like, what the hell is going on here? My mom gets home and she's like, I was all freaked out. She's like, what happened? I'm like, well, my shirt, I went to go get a soda out of your bedroom and my shirt lifted up halfway off my back and slammed down. And she's like, I told you to stay out of the room. And then every time I don't listen to her, something always happens to me. Like,
I told you, Mama was always watching
But-
you.
it's just crazy because I don't know, that's just freaky to me. Like, I literally went to bend down, like, not even that much, and my shirt just went, foof, and then back down.
Did it feel like something grabbed the shirt, or did it
There's
feel
no
like
way that
wind?
could have happened without,
Did it feel
I
like
don't know
wind
how to
did it?
explain it. Like, it's just weird to me.
Right. Did it
But
feel like
I've had other experiences as well, but I'll save those for another time because I know you have other people in the back.
Hey, Zach, did it feel like somebody grabbed the shirt and moved it with their hand, or did it feel like wind did it?
It felt like someone grabbed my shirt and lifted it up halfway off my back. Like, it was almost up to my shoulders. Like,
And actually, the story is when he told me about that, I laughed and I said, I told you, Mama's always watching you. And which is true.
Like Sun Saver said here, the mom curse.
The mom curse.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I want to thank all three of you, first of all, and we'll have to do this again for sure. Chad, obviously, you guys all know each other, so please stay in touch, and I'd love to maybe get another time set up to bring you guys on and share some more of these stories a little more in depth. But I want to thank each and every one of you for, taking time to be with us tonight and share some very personal experiences that you had.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
Thanks a lot, guys.
do any of you have something you run, like a Facebook page or a paranormal page, anything in relation to that you'd like to let people know about?
No, we don't.
No,
Not
we
yet,
don't.
but it sounds
We
like
just
they need to
kinda-
make one.
we just kind of leave that stuff alone. I mean,
No
personally,
worries.
me,
Yeah, like,
Cheryl,
literally-
Zach's mom, I just leave it alone.
literally, this is the first time she's ever talked about it. Like,
I don't like to
Like
really
that.
go there.
this is her first time ever, like, talking about it.
The psychic, so it literally is
Like, I haven't heard half of this until she just told me about it or experienced it. So,
literally the psychic told me that if I let my ex-husband guide me along the way, that I could probably move forward with this. And I said, I'm not really interested, and so I'm not going to move forward with any of this because I don't really like this stuff.
Hmm.
I don't really like it. And
Well,
the
we-
gut feelings that I have, I don't really like those either. But, I'm usually always on the money. You can ask my son with some of the people that he gets involved with. And I'm like, Zach,
You made
I'm
me
not
sound like a
really
bad
comfortable with, some of the stuff that you're doing right now. And later he always says to me, Mom, how do you always know this stuff? I say, I don't know if it's a psychic ability, a sixth sense, or a mother's instinct. I'm not sure which, but that's just how it goes. And I don't
maybe a
like
bit
it.
of both. You never know. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to take you guys backstage. You can feel free to listen that way if you'd like, or you can join back in and watch the YouTube. But I really do appreciate you sharing this experience with us tonight. And I know some of those in the chat enjoyed hearing the stories. So I want to wish you guys a wonderful evening. Happy Halloween. I know it's a little early, but happy Halloween to the three of you. And stay
Happy
safe
Halloween
out
to
there.
you guys as well.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween to you guys.
Yeah, you too, guys. Appreciate
right,
you guys
bye.
having us on tonight. It was a fun time, and we'll be back with more stories,
Absolutely.
true stories.
True stories.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Have a good one, guys. Bye. Man, Chad, what do you think about that? There's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like there's still a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to remind you, check out Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott Monday through Friday, 12 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, and Lynn Wallington taking Saturdays and Sundays, 12 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. You guys, please check them out. They've been extremely supportive of the garage here, and we love what they do, and that's how a lot of us have met, and a lot of the people hanging out in the chat are because of that. If you guys would like to be like the very gracious people that came out and shared their story tonight, feel free to reach out to me as well. Oops, I put up the wrong one. You should support as well the UFOGARAGE.podcast.com. Go check them out. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you can be a guest in the Big Willy van. Email at bigwilly@ufogaragepodcast.com. Once again, if you're listening podcast format or YouTube, scroll down. All that'll be in the show notes. All right. It looks like we have got. Did you see this? Did you check out some of the links here, Chad, that are coming up guests here? Our guests that we're about to bring on sent to us. They had quite a bit. Did you look through that at all?
I clicked on the last one. Yeah, that looked pretty interesting. I just
There's
had a
a
hard
lot
time
there.
following the stories and reading at the same time.
No,
so.
no worries at all. Spooky, by the way. I apologize. I missed that. Thank you so very much for that donation to the page here. We really appreciate that. He said, Chad Smith, you guys are a great team and keep the conversation rolling very well. Major props to Chad for saving the day, because otherwise I would have been stuck just me out here.
No, that's not going to happen. I'll be up in the woods and I'll get 5G somehow. I'll get on.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, let's bring on our next guest. As you guys know him, and it looks like he's got a different name in here tonight, but we know him all as 509. What's happening, brother? Welcome to the show tonight.
What's up, dude?
Hey, good evening, boys. Good evening.
Good to see you, bud.
Yes, hey, is the mic working fine?
The mic's
Sound
working
good.
great. Sounds good.
I love that the
All
takeaway
right,
so far
well,
from the night was
so-
from Sonny saying, I'm so waiting for the troll farter, the phantom farter to come back.
Stick around. You never know. He might be.
Oh, man. So, 509, thank you, first of all, for hopping on here tonight. We're obviously discussing Halloween a bit, and we're discussing some, ghosts, paranormal activity. And you had some interesting stuff you shared backstage here. Do you want to take this away a little bit? It looked like it was in relation to some of the Vampirian history in relation to Halloween. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm not normally a fan of this new Halloween, the modern day go out and party. I am a fan of the mystic and, that thinning of the veil and understanding what's behind reality. And, one of those people that have been behind reality for a long, long time are them vampires,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them vampires is Count Saint Germain. Well, kind of like a vampire. He's more of a count and an alchemist. He was associated with the vampire, so let's just go ahead and leave it at that. All right.
Okay.
Now he was a well-renowned alchemist. He was probably one of the greatest in history, and some say maybe one of the most legendary in Europe. I mean, not like as a good thing or a horrible thing, but just for who he was. Some say that he went back in time, and some say he's still nowadays in our time, so traveling across time. And You know, if you think about different people in history that have been related to those type of stories, you can pull up the story of Enoch. He transcended into a higher platform and went to different time periods and different worlds, and even where, you know, some say the Incans and the Mayans and Aztecs or some one of those, or they transcended through time. Yeah, it's
Very
quite
interesting.
known to be more than just a myth. These, you know, time travelers. I mean, I believe Hitler himself was very, very interested in capturing the power of time travel to rule the history. Now, Count Saint Germain, though, has more than enough proof to go ahead and
Hey,
leave you,
509,
you
I
know,
think you have
not
something
skeptical
going.
about
Is there
that at all.
some music or something playing in the background, or a TV?
Oh, I
maybe?
do, dude. Oh, hey, I apologize. I didn't realize that. I
That's
actually have
okay.
something about Count Saint Germain in the background.
Those
See,
those
if you guys want
headphones
to
are
know a little bit
awesome. They
more,
must be some good noise cancelers.
if you want to know a little bit more, you guys can go ahead and watch Castlevania on Netflix, and that goes real deep into the esoteric and mystical truths, and they pull up different types of information between the Catholic Church, you know, and Vlad the Impaler, which is also another topic I wanted to go ahead and talk about, Vlad the Impaler too. And yes, Castlevania is a very good source. I, you know, just to briefly kind of just see what they're talking about. It's not going to tell you everything, of course, but if you just want a little bit of a, you know, hint, go ahead and watch Castlevania on Netflix. And also, if you go ahead and want to get a deeper dive into this, Tinfoil Hat on episode 478, he goes real deep into this and explains a lot more than I can, man. This Count Saint Germain, there was some videos floating around between, you know, let's see, the last 40 years where he was somewhere on air on TV. You know, like I said, he's been known to be around in our times. And he was on air on TV, you know, with his alchemy, and he had turned like lead to gold on TV, and everyone was like tripping out, and they never try to ever do that again because, you know, that's really hard to do. That's like extremely hard to do. So I don't see anybody will ever want to do that on air again, you know.
So they're saying that he's been a bit out there, though. He's not necessarily, you know, creeping in the dark and in the shadows. He's been out in the public.
Yes, he's not, like I said, he wasn't an evil person, and he wasn't necessarily an overwhelmingly good person, you know. As let's see, as one of the guests I think said on one of the podcasts, I think on Spaced Out Radio, I believe they were talking about magic. Yes, and it constituting into different sides. Like you can go ahead and play around with the good and bad and just be a gray or like be a neutral. You know, that's what Count Saint Germain was. He was that neutral magician. He didn't take sides really, I guess.
You know what's interesting about this stuff too is that the lore has been there forever, and if you go back to I'm not one to really talk about this. It's not something I'm super educated on, but the lore of Dracula, that was a real person, and I remember it wasn't what he was doing wasn't exactly how the story obviously got twisted.
Yes, Vlad the Impaler.
Mm-hmm. And as I say, it's very interesting how almost all this lore and all this stuff that we have over time, they've come from real places, which always makes me wonder about stuff like, and I don't want to get too far off the pace here, but so we'll keep it in more like ghoulish things. But when it comes to like the monsters that lurked in the woods or the centaurs and minotaurs and stuff, that perhaps there was something similar to this.
Let's talk about them. And if we're just looking at what we do nowadays with our genetic modification, where China does things like creates chimeras, which is actually a thing, you know, a human hybrid, half man, half pig embryo, which is a real thing. Go ahead and fact check that, man. And so we're doing it nowadays. Like these dudes way back in the day, they probably mastered it. Greek talked about it. These mythologies, they want to go ahead and tell you their mythology, you know, and I mean by they, you know, the people who want to go ahead and rule things, you know, just to keep us like away from our spirit, you know, to keep us away from understanding what's really happening in Halloween and on all sides of reality.
Yeah.
You know, the less we know, the more that they can control.
100% agree with that. I do. Now, I just have to ask, to be fair, and I know you have some other stuff you want to share here too, so please do it, but I
So
just
did
got
you
to
guys
ask.
a little bit? No, on this a bit on that article, just to brush up to see what you had. If you had any, you know, some good questions about it or anything to continue on.
Hang in there, 519. You might be breaking up just a little bit. Maybe try taking your camera off, see if that, because I know that helped you the other night. Maybe try doing that, and then go ahead and repeat the question if you get a chance. I love how Lewis said man, bear, pig. But yeah, the Chimerian stuff that they're doing over in China, that's something they proved back in the 80s that they were doing with cattle. It's very intriguing stuff. I know it's a little more like, you know, the dark side of the internet to dig into that, but
So
it's there.
well, it's not really the dark side of the internet. That's who we are too. If we look at it from you know, the standpoint of ancient history, we are a genetic modification. Like we are a genetic creature that was created by higher beings. Now, I'm wondering, look, like, you know, a lot of these things that we see in the dark in between like nightmares and what we think as like Bigfoot, cryptid, dogman, anything like that. Hey, I'm not saying that they're not real, but let's just say, what if some of them are the spirits of these hybrid creations that have been lost and killed and destroyed for over the last couple thousand of years? As you know, as a collective coming back, they're like, you know, we're lost. We don't know what type of creature we are, and they're appearing to us, you know, and we just don't know what they are. I'm not saying all of them, because, you know, some of them, you know, could be more consistent than others, like Bigfoot. Bigfoot is definitely real consistent. We know that's like, we know that George Lucas knows about him more than we do. Sasquatch and Chewbacca.
The mammoth. Yeah, that's interesting. That's what Lewis is mentioning in the chat about the idea of bringing back the mammoth, and that I know something they've been talking about for a while.
Yes, see, we have the DNA replication technology already, and we're doing that. And I believe, you know, it's only been the last 5 years. If you really look into the articles, they are performing revivals from DNA that they're finding. Like I believe that they just recreated a dinosaur, whatever that is. I believe that those dinosaurs are actually like what we think as Nephilim or fallen angels, or their side, whatever, you know what I mean? Those draconian type of beings that were supposedly around back in the day. I think that's what real dinosaurs are like. They're actually the enemy. And if you think about it, like, who's controlling the searches of these archaeology studies, and who's controlling the searches of the science topics? Well, it's the people with the money. Well, that now we can go ahead and think that they're the enemy, like the ancestors of the Nephilim. If they're making these searches at this exact spot, we can probably bet that exact spot is their ancestors' bones and origins. And they're like, oh, we just found a dinosaur. Nah, that's probably your ancestor that you're probably looking for, and you're just calling it a dinosaur. And you're making this whole big old deal, like, to make it look all pretty and nice and be like, yeah, you know, that's just something we kind of don't know, kind of do know. But no, they know. And I'm sure, like, because if you think about it, there's two sides of the giants of bones. This is, you know, all has to deal with the paranormal still. There's the giant bones, and then there's the giant human bones, and then there's the giant like dinosaur bones and fish bones. So there's only 3 type of beings, you know. And what were the other, you know, what were the other ones? Probably those draconian type of Nephilim, fallen angels, which is probably what we still see in the paranormal as like our nightmares. You know, these things have been around for a long time. It's just like these monsterish creations. I'm not saying all of them,
right?
You know, like fairies would probably be real. Like, so something interestingly, like, as a kid, I noticed that there was fairy patches around here. Like, there would be those weird spots of mushrooms, the circle spots of mushrooms, and like there was a lot of them around here, because like I live like near a country-ish over here in the Hollywoods of, you know, Pacific Northwest. So like I was pretty awoke to it. And yeah, like I kind of believe in that fairy realm-ish more than anything. too, because like I read Artemis Fowl as a kid, and that kind of woke me up like real deep. Made me a believer.
What do you think of the question here by Champ Campbell? Great question, by the way. It's really more of a statement, but it says, think the Sumerians wrote about the Chimerian in Sanskrit. Or it might be the Chimera. I might have enunciated that wrong, but have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah, see, some of these ancient cultures did write about chimeras. I'm trying to recollect which story it is, but it's lost on me. Yeah, but they did talk about the chimeras, and they did talk about like these hybridish creatures that we were battling. And it's been a long story for a long time.
Now, I have to ask you, too, really quick, like I said, I'd be remiss if I didn't, because what I'm going to do, guys, by the way, we're going to take a little break at the bottom of the hour here, about 10:30, and I'll have some intro music there or something playing, so if anybody's got to use the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, we're just going to take a quick little break. But I got to ask you, 509, now, besides your interactions that you've had, and you've talked to me a little bit about with some other entities, did you have anything that was directly related to the paranormal, perhaps separate from those entities that you mentioned?
Let's see, paranormal. Will, I believe I did talk about that vampiric attack. No, like there was just one nightmare that stood out more than the rest. Like I've never really had nightmares. Like I usually just have deja vu-ish or mellow dreams, but like I don't really have like any type of nightmares ever.
Yeah.
But there was this tripped out time where like it was a dream where everything was so real. Like it slowed down. I was in a party like in Seattle at a large stadium of just a festival, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, man, this is taking forever. And sure enough, I was just going through it for a couple hours. I was like, man, this dream is kind of long. What is going on? And shit. Hey, oh, okay, good. Oh, I thought my computer died. Yeah, so so I was like, what is going on? And it was just it was a short while later that like the whole stadium started panicking. The music started glitching, and everybody in the stadium started panicking. And I guess if I could say that was probably a sign of what was about to happen as like a world, because I was only about like 6 to 8 months before the pandemic started. And so everybody in the stadium started running around, and I was like, oh shit, well, time to dip. So I started dipping, and I started running, and I seen the exit, and I started going towards there. And then it's so weird. Like, how in the dreams, everybody is a faceless, nameless sheep. Like, I mean, not literally, like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of just, you see their bodies, but you kind of don't see their faces. And if their faces, like, are animated, they're really just untransparent. Like, you kind of just, because you're moving so fast, sometimes. So you just can't even, all the faces in the dreams are just kind of a blur. Well, as I was going through the exit, I noticed all the faces turned back. I was like, what the fuck? And I looked back, and dude, I seen this like banshee type creature. I apologize. It's kind of trippy, like scary, like kind of traumatizing. Like it's weird. So I had seen this banshee type creature, like that was 2 times larger than the humans. Like, so it's probably like 8 feet at least, and it was floating, and I was like, oh fuck. And I'm well aware of my dreams, and I know when to pull out, like, and I'm like, yo, I gotta pull out, I gotta get out of here. And so as I was doing that, I just seen it coming, and I don't know if it hit me or not, but dude, I woke up in tears. Like, I had no time to cry because I already woke up. I was already waking up crying. Like, my body was crying before my consciousness came back into my mind and reality. I woke up shivering, scared, cold. I was like, this was an attack. I was like, this was directly an attack or a sign or something that was definitely like unfriendly, like, that I knew was definitely real, and because I've never felt energy like that. Like, I've never woke up from a dream already awake. Like, my body was already moving before my eyes were up. It's like, it's hard to explain how, like, having that type of reaction. And I mean, I've seen an apparition here as a kid when I was like around 7 at the corner of my eye. It's not nothing I could really even notice though. That was the first moment I knew, like, something was here at this house, or something. I was really woke, and maybe something was trying to target me, or I was trying to elevate on some type of spiritual level. There's more, but we're about to go to a break, so
That's okay.
we can go ahead and come back, and I'll go ahead and get something jotted down so I can talk about it after the break.
Well, what I'm actually going to do here, 509, because I got 3 other people behind you as well. I'm trying to give everybody about 20 minutes or so.
Snap.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do...
Okay, all right. Hey, no,
I might
the party.
take you
Let's
off
keep the party going.
Heck yeah. So after the break, guys...
Hey, I'm down to chill, man.
No problem. What I'll do is that I'll move you
too.
backstage, and you can hang out there, and if time allows, once at the end, we can bring you back on for sure. But Bim Jim will be coming on, and guys, as you know, Bim Jim has been a big supporter of the show for a long time and been in the chat, so I'm excited to see what they got to share. And we also have, oh man, forgive me if I say your name wrong. I think it's Jojo Bone. It could be maybe enunciated differently with an H. If I got it wrong, I apologize. But we'll have you on around 11:05 or a little bit sooner if we can. So guys, hang tight. Anybody wants to go use the bathroom, make a cup of coffee, feel free. Now would be the time. Really quick, 509, let everybody know where they can find you, and then I'll move you backstage. Okay, brother?
Hey, man, YouTube and Instagram at 509 Divine Pines. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. God bless. Love y'all.
Thanks, buddy.
Peace out.
You too,
Good
bro.
to see you.
Man, Chad, we're just rolling through them tonight. I thought we'd get like 1 person or maybe 2. I feel bad. Like,
Yeah.
but feel like
No, you're
20
doing
minutes.
great. No, this is great.
Here we go, guys. So, all right, we got just a minute here. So I'm going to mention one last time before we go to break, I guess. So we got 1 minute here. Let's pull this up. Here we go. Guys, Manscaped cleared for takeoff. I said I had to double down for him since the boys missed it last week. Your balls will thank you. And trust me, from what Ben and Joe have told me, they do thank them. Not only did their balls thank them, his neck thanks him, his wife thanks him, everyone's thanking him. So we're very excited to hopefully get a partnership set in stone with them and be able to make that a real thing going forward. And if not, I've already heard the products are great. So go check them out. What do you have to lose? All right, guys, let's take just a second here. And let me get rid of this comment. I'm going to throw up some music. Like I said, go make a drink, whatever you want. Use the bathroom. Come back in about 5 minutes or less, and we'll be set to head back out into the great cosmos again. I'm going to move you backstage for just a second. Okay, Chad?
Sounds good, buddy.
All righty, here we go. Let's do this. If I find the right buttons. You guys are doing great tonight. Love this. I love hearing all the stories. All right, here we go. Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna hop back in here for you so we're not sitting here with dead air for too long. We'll make sure we get you all squared away. I'm just waiting for my buddy here, Chad, to get back. But before he comes back, what I'm gonna do is let you guys know. Like I said, you can reach out to me. Hang out in Big Willy van, go travel the cosmos, old blue here. Email me at bigwilly@ufogaragepodcast.com. Scroll down on the links. If you're listening in a podcast format, that will all be in there for you. And I just want to check really quick if Bim Jim, if you are set and ready to go, just shoot me a private message there in the backstage to let me know you're good to bring on. And we're going to see what's going on. I love this. Looks like Chad's back. I'm going to bring him back in here. Hey, Dave Scott, what's shaking? Or at least Spaced Out Radio. I'm not sure who we have over there right now. Could be Lynn, but I bet it's Dave. Chad, look at that.
Hey, 5 minutes goes by fast, you know?
Oh, dude, I tell you, it flies right on by. I'm excited, though. I'm excited. Bim Jim says he is ready, so let's bring in Bim Jim. Now, guys, for those of you that have been here supporting the show for a while, you know we've seen Bim Jim in here quite a few times. I'm very intrigued to hear him, so hopefully this all works out. We want to thank each and every one of you. If you guys could, once more, go hit that like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, but hit that like button and ring the bell. Will you do that for me? Will you do it for Big Willy? Ring the bell so the cosmos hears it going. And we also have the Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters still in the chat. Love this. Love you guys. You guys are all awesome.
I love that channel.
Heck yeah. All right, here we go.
Go blue.
Bim Jim, welcome to the show. How are we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm fabulous, I must say. A little bit older, but I've had a lot of experiences in my life, right? A lot of paranormal experiences. And if people go to my YouTube channel, there's one video I made there, I put up there, where I talk about going through through a portal. Now, okay, so I'm out on the west coast of Canada here, and I got the ocean on one side of me, and then there's all these mountains with forest, and there's all kinds of logging up there and everything, like the Pacific Northwest, same sort of thing, eh? Mm-hmm. And so now these forests are very, very spooky. And I hang around with people who are New Age, and they're into native spiritualism and all this kind of stuff. And we go up in the forest, we sit around the campfire and tell these stories, eh? And it's phenomenal. I mean, they're, I'm gonna get around. I want to get around to telling this kind of a ghosty story here. I've got a few ghost stories, not many, but my main stories are about going through these portals, right? And so another friend of mine, she organizes these meetings up in the forest where she lives, and she's had these experiences too, also, where she has walked into an old native village, and it's all operating as it did 500 years ago. There's no metal tools or anything. The people are all, preparing fish and fixing this, tools and stuff like that, as it would have been 500 years ago. And she has walked right into these a village like that, right? So okay, spooky forest time. Okay, so if you listen to my video about going through the portal, it was the same portal. Now this was, I should have figured out the time this happened. It would have been about 25 years ago, I think. Yeah, 25 years ago. So I drove my pickup truck out to Port Mellon, which is about 20 miles from my home, and it's a big pulp mill. And it's surrounded by forest. I was out there. I turned around, come back, and I saw this hole in the green wall at the side of the road. Like, so at the side of the highway, there's this forest, right? There's this green wall, and I saw a hole in this green wall, and I thought, oh, I wonder what's in that hole, right? So I drive in there, and there's this really rough road, went uphill, and went up and up, and my old truck's just bouncing and rattling and banging, and I go up this very rough little road, very narrow, and then I came to a normal logging road, which was nice and smooth and carried on uphill. And so I went up that road, uphill, and put the gas on, got in the right gear. You got to be in second gear probably to go up a hill like that, because you got to keep your speed up, right? And so I'm going around this wide bend, And once I get around the bend, I look up ahead of me, and there's this very steep. The road gets very steep, and that's crazy because the road can't be that steep. They would never build a road that steep. But I'm looking at this road in front of me, and I thought I had no choice. I had to put the pedal to the metal and just try to go up this hill. I had no other choice. So I put the gas pedal down hard and started going up this really steep section of hill. And it was like all I could see up in front of me was this bright rectangle, which was the sky, right? And all I could do was aim for this bright rectangle. I couldn't see anything else, right? So I kept the gas pedal. I kept the gas pedal to the floor, and I had to do chin-ups on the steering wheel to pull myself up so I could see. And I couldn't, because I was at such an angle, and I couldn't see over the hood. I couldn't see the road in front of me. All I could see was this bright rectangle in front of me, and I just aimed for it. And that was the portal, right? So eventually, after maybe 15 seconds of this very steep uphill, I go up through this bright rectangle, and now everything looks normal again. And there's forest, and most of it is logged, as is the case here. Most of the forest has been logged, so I can see all around, and it looks pretty normal. And I'm driving along on this logging road, and I come to a new concrete bridge over a gully. I go over that. Now I had seen that bridge once before, so I figured, okay, I know where I am now because I've been up here once before, through the portal before, and over this bridge before. So I go over the bridge, and then the road became very bumpy and narrow, and I'm bumping along, banging back and forth, big rocks and stuff. And I was headed towards home, but I thought, man, this road's not going to get me home. It's too narrow, but I kept going anyway. I had no choice. So I just kept going, and really slow. And I got to a point there where it was all logged, and I could see across this flat area. And over there, I saw a logging operation. And I was very relieved to see some other human beings up here, up in that, up at about 4,000 feet elevation. And I was very relieved to see some other human beings because I hadn't seen anybody for a while. And I saw a logging operation over there, and I know what they look like. And I slowed down. I'm peering at this thing. It's a couple of 100 yards away, this logging operation. There's a whole bunch of guys there. There's all these machines operating, big machinery. And it was very strange because all the machinery was black. And nowadays, beginning about the 1960s, all the logging machinery was painted yellow or orange, but mostly yellow. Everything's painted yellow. And so to look over there and see these machines, these old black machines running over there, I thought, that's crazy. That cannot be. It just can't be. And so I'm looking over there, and I'm looking at these machines. I can see there's smoke coming out of them. They're working. But the weirdest thing was there was a whole bunch of guys standing around watching, and their backs were to me. They're watching the machines, right? A whole bunch of guys, all dressed in work clothes, And I'm looking at these guys. I'm thinking, that's I've never seen that before. When you see a logging operation, everybody's working. There's nobody standing around. And here's like about 20 guys standing around watching this old machinery, black machinery, running. Man, that's weird. And then one guy turned around, looked me right in the face, and he had a big smile on his face when he saw me. And he said something to the other guys. They all turned around and looked at me, and they were watching me, and they're all smiling, And I thought, man, that is the weirdest scene. What a strange scene that is, eh? And I just kept rolling real slow, rolling along, bumping along over these boulders and stuff. And then I passed out of view of them, and I carried on, and I thought, well, I guess I'll just try to drive home. I was on a road that I'd never seen before, and I know all the roads up there, but this road was weird. And I thought, well, I'll just carry on and go home, I suppose. And then there's a period of time there where I don't remember how I got from that road onto a road that I knew, a road that's near my home. And I don't really know how that transition occurred. And this happened to me a number of times when I went through these portals. It would be a kind of a transition where I I would be in one place, and then I would be in another place that I recognized, and then I would go home, right? So anyway, I went home that day, and I got thinking about it. I thought, none of that could have happened. It's just not possible to have black logging machinery and a bunch of guys standing around watching all this. And I figured out later what it was. Like, it was, you've heard of ghost ships and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it was and there's ghost villages in the forest up here too, eh? Native villages and ghost ships, and you've heard of these things. Well, that was a ghost logging operation, is what it was, because it could not be what I saw. It just couldn't be that way, and I saw it all very clearly. And this guy turned around, smiled at me, and everything, and looked very happy to see me. So apparently, this is the case, and the way I've got it figured out now, because, well, I'm 72 now, and these things started happening. I first went through a portal up there. I was about 35, and I've been through the portals maybe 16 times, and it seems that each time, well, it seems that I go to different parallel universes. Okay, so there's this one where there's ghosts, and then there's other paranormal universes up there. I think I've been to about 3 or 4 of them. There was another parallel universe I went to one time when I went through the portal. I went to a place where I met an alien.
Wow, that's a bit of an escalation, 0 to 100 there.
I was up there. I was up there camping. Like, I'd go through the portal and I'd camp up there, and I was up there camping, and I was eating blueberries and walking around in the forest and having a great time. And I came back to my camp, and there was something standing at the edge of my camp, right? Right at the edge of my camp. When I returned to the camp, it was standing right there and watching me. But here's the deal that you won't believe probably, but it was invisible. It was invisible, but it's what we call the predator. And many people have seen this thing.
Man.
Many people have seen this thing. It's the predator. It's invisible. It's the size of a Sasquatch, and you can see it shimmering sometimes. But you really know it's there when it runs through the forest. So it does 2 things that I'm aware of. It likes to watch people, and it likes to run through the forest. And I've got like about 15 accounts of this thing, and I met it, and it's called the predator. And it when it runs through the forest, you can see it displaces the forest, right? So all the branches and the bushes and everything go flying as it runs, and you can see it coming or going away from you, right? And that's what I met up there after I went through that portal. I met one of those things up there. It's called the predator, and I've read probably 15 accounts of this thing, and I got certain things figured out about it. One thing is, I do think it is an alien that can visit this space-time or this universe, okay? But it comes from a nearby universe where its home is, and I don't, I don't think it's super intelligent like a lot of the aliens are. It's just a regular sort of being, and it's curious about us, so it likes to stand and watch us. Apparently doesn't have any psychic abilities, because I'm very strongly psychic. I can communicate with people and animals and things like that, and I learned this from the native people. The native people know about this stuff. I learned it from them, so I can talk to, communicate with animals and stuff like that, and with other people too. And I've just revealed some secret knowledge to you. I'm sorry to any native people listening, but that's all secret knowledge. I'm not supposed to say that stuff. But that's the way it is, man. That's the universes. I think we live in a bunch of universes, man. I had so many experiences up there, man. I mean, I've had about 20 of these really wild experiences, and I met spirit animals. They're different from the spirit animals are not cryptids. The spirit animals are something different, and the spirit animals come to visit you. And I've had 2 of them come to visit me. And they're very friendly. In my case, one was a wolf, and a beautiful, beautiful wolf, and the other one was a cougar, very pretty cougar. And the wolf was male and the cougar was female. And both of them at different times came to visit, and they come right up to you and they're smiling. And the wolf wanted to play. He made all these body languages like, let's play, but he was as big as a deer. He was like huge, like the one they saw at Skinwalker Ranch, just like that. It was friendly and playful and all this stuff, right? But at the time, I thought, I don't think I want to play with this wolf, man. I don't know, man. I just,
Right.
I'm not quite into that, So I just stood still and I waited, and eventually ran away at an incredible speed. I mean, took off running and just, wow, moved really fast. And the cougar that I saw, another spirit animal. I know these are spirit animals as the native people define them, because their color is weird. You look at them, they look like a normal wolf or normal cougar or a normal bear, but their color is not right. And they are very friendly. They come to you and they smile and they're friendly as can be. Even though they're big, scary animals, they're quite friendly. And the cougar I met was obviously female because she was dancing in front of me, And I was in my vehicle, rolling along very, very slowly, and this thing appeared in front of my vehicle, right? So I put on the brakes, and I got out and walked towards it because it was dancing, and it was standing on all fours, but it was dancing and wiggling its body, and its tail was going up and down in this perfect sine wave, and it was smiling at me and turning back and forth. So I got out of my car, walked right towards this cougar, and she walked away slowly, again, looking back at me and smiling, and walked away, and then turned and vanished into the bushes at the side of the road there. And when she disappeared, she disappeared at the surface of this green wall, if you know what I mean. And there was no trail there. There was no hole in the bushes. She just kind of vanished at the surface of the green forest, right? And that was my other spirit animal. And the native people here have told me their stories of the spirit animals also. And that's exactly what I saw. There's no doubt about it. They have all this stuff figured out. The native people, they figured this out 1,000 years ago, right? So I learned from them, and I learned, oh gosh, there's another secret knowledge I can't tell. I don't know. I don't know if I can say this or not, but I learned how to make myself invisible from this one native guy.
That's a big one. That's a lot. Wow, I was not expecting that. I was not gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
Me neither.
It's amazing. Now, okay, so I learned how to do it. I tried it on a friend of mine, a guy I'd known for many years. I tried this on him, and it freaked him out so bad. I didn't tell him what I was going to do. I just wasn't there, and then I appeared in front of him, and it freaked him out so bad he won't talk to me anymore. He doesn't believe I'm a real human. He's some kind of a religious person, and so he probably thinks I'm some sort of a demon or something. I don't know, but I never had any religion. So anyway, that guy, he won't talk to me anymore. I see him in the grocery store. I walk up to him, I say, "Hey, hi John, how's it going, man?" And he kind of looks at me, looks away, looks at me, looks away. He doesn't want to talk to me because he thinks I'm imaginary or not real or something, which is cool. I mean, he has his beliefs, and I'm cool with people's beliefs, whatever you got, And then, so this is the thing about becoming invisible. So I told my friend Penny, I explained to her very carefully, step by step, how to make herself invisible. Now, this is a woman who is very powerfully intuitive, psychic, everything you can imagine. Okay, she's very powerful in that way. And I explained it to her, how to make herself invisible, in great detail, step by step. Okay, fine. So I didn't see her for a couple of months. And then one day, I went to the coffee shop near my home there. And there was a bunch of people in the parking lot who I recognized, and they were all friends of Penny. So I go over this circle of friends, I stand in there, listen to them. And they were planning something or other. I don't know what the hell they were talking about, but then they said, okay, let's go. And I looked around at these 6 people, and I said, "Where's Penny?" And they all turned and looked at me like, what, are you out of your friggin' mind? She's standing in front of you. And I looked, and here's Penny appeared in front of me, right? She wasn't there, and then she appeared. And she was laughing, and I threw my head back and laughed because I knew she'd played a trick on me, right? She made herself invisible, and then she became visible. So I've seen it with my own eyes. I saw what John saw when I made myself invisible to him. Now, I'll say that it takes a lot of effort to do this, and I have never done it again. I dabbled in it a few times. I found it was real, and then I never tried it again. And again, this is because it is a secret knowledge, and the reason it's a secret knowledge in the native belief is that it's bad. You know, I mean, it can bring on bad things, and I know about that. I totally know what's going on there, man. I'll tell you, because I was talking to this woman one day, and she was younger than me, very, very pretty woman. I just met her out in front of the mall, you know, and I started chatting with her, and she worked at the store there, and I knew her from the store. Very, very beautiful, very nice lady. And we're talking and laughing and talking and laughing. And along comes some guy, and I started to choke. This guy was her husband, native guy. They're natives. And as this guy walked towards us, I started to choke. And I looked over at him, and he was giving me the evil eye, man, because I was laughing with his wife. And he did not like that, right? And so I know bloody well what happened that day. He was choking me, mentally choking me, right? And I coughed a bit, and then I was okay. And I smiled at the woman, you know, and we all knew, all three of us knew exactly what happened. We knew very well exactly what happened. So, you know, I just got up and left. But yeah, these are all very real. But you see, the thing is, with the native knowledge is it can be used for good or bad. And this is why they keep some things secret, because they are bad things, you know, and they're bad powers, and they can be used for bad things. And the native people have a whole explanation for the universe, you know, whole explanation for everything, where the salmon come from, and when they come back, and when time began, and all this stuff. Oh, it's what you call a paradigm. Now, I accept that. Well, I found it's true. You know, man, I went up in the forest. I did some of the ordeals where you go up in the mountains and you walk and walk and walk, and then turn around. And no guns. I have no gun, nothing like that. Just walk through the forest alone and unarmed. Walk and walk and walk and turn around and walk back. I walked way up to a lake and swam in the lake and walked back again. And
man.
oh yeah, no gun, nothing, right? Nobody up there, way up in the mountains, man. Nobody around. Well, I wouldn't say I was brave. No, I'm not brave. Not that. I'm just, well, I was naive, actually. I just, you know, I thought, everything's okay. I wonder, you know, no bear's going to hurt me or anything. Anyway, that's another story. But I wouldn't say I'm brave. I'm not a brave guy. But I have done some of these ordeals, you know, and the native people, they invented that idea of if they had a teenager who's a bad kid, they'd send him out in the forest and say, "Oh, you want to be a bad kid and steal somebody else's fish or something? Well, you go live out in the forest alone for a couple of weeks. We'll see how when you come back what's happened to you." And that's the ordeal that you do. Right? So I did some of these things myself, and I used to go up in the mountains, just live up there alone. I just really enjoyed it, and I'd take books to read, and I'd take photographs and wander around eating berries and stuff like that, and just enjoying the heck out of it. And I would do this every summer for about a month. I'd live up in the mountains and had a lot of experiences. Oh boy! Now there was an earlier caller there who said she was psychic, or a psychic told her that she was psychic.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. You know, some people don't like this idea, but I think some people are psychic and some people are not. And I call it intuition. You know, there's many words for it, but I think some people have these abilities and some people don't. And the native people knew about this too, right? So the native people, they had their animal callers, and these were people who could call animals to them, and they could communicate with the animals, right? And I can do that. I can do it. I can communicate with animals, mind to mind. And if you look this up on YouTube, even there's these animal healers who do this. They heal animals by talking to them and or communicating with them mind to mind, saying, "Well, what's your problem?" And the animal tells them, "I got a sore foot," or "I'm freezing cold," or whatever it is, eh? And these animal healers who talk to the animals, they heal the animals. They prove it's true, right? And I have done that many times, many times. Last time I tried this was an interesting thing. I went up in the mountains just a little ways, and I left a gift for a Sasquatch there. And the next day I came back to where I left the gift, and I've never seen a Sasquatch. I should say that now. I've never yet seen one, but my friends have seen them. So, anyways, I left a gift up there for the Sasquatch, and then I went back up the next day, put my camera down, and started running. And I was examining the gift, and something had eaten the apple. Something always eats the apple, but the other stuff was just pushed around, right? It wasn't eaten, just the apple was eaten. So it could have been a deer, a bear, or anything really. And anyway, so I got my camera running, and these ravens, two ravens came over and landed in the tree above me and started squawking and dropping things on me, deliberately dropping things like pieces of bark and little pine cones and moss, and dropping this on me and squawking and squawking and squawking. The ravens don't like people around here. So I sat down, and these things were falling on me, and I started thinking at the ravens, right, trying to communicate with them. I don't, this is the sort of thing I'll try. And this didn't actually work this day, but I did try to do it. I thought of a way of asking the ravens, have you ever seen a Sasquatch, right? But the way you have to do this is you have to create an image in your mind, and then you send the image at the animal. That's how you communicate with animals, right? So I created an image in my mind of a Sasquatch standing beside a bear, and the bear came up to just above the Sasquatch's knee, showing how big the Sasquatch is. So I created this image in my mind, and I projected out in front of me in the forest, and I beamed it at the ravens to see what they would do, and all they did was they just shut up. They didn't. They stopped. They've been squawking for 5 minutes straight, and I got some of that on the video of these ravens just squawking at me right above me, and they just shut up. That's all they did. And they didn't. I didn't get any message back from them, but I was asking them, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen a Sasquatch, right? And I'm going to try that some more, because I still do this from time to time. I'll go up there, and I get along very well with the deer. You get the right deer or elk. I've done this with elk as well, and with bears as well. And you can communicate with them if you know how to do it. And I give public talks about this stuff, and I tell people step by step how to talk to the animals. And it's you think in pictures, and the first thing I think to them to make a friend of a deer or bear, okay, I look at them and I think, you are beautiful. And I create the image in my mind of the animal I'm looking at, and I make it a beautiful, beautiful picture. And I think, you are beautiful. And this works. And I tell you, man, that if you can do it, if you have that ability, and even not all the native people had that ability. There were certain people in the tribe who were known as the animal callers, and they could call animals to them with their mind. And I've done it now with many different animals, and at least I've proven it to myself. I can't. I'm an engineer, and I know about science and proof and all that stuff. I can't prove this to other people. I do have some evidence, but when I meet people who have these abilities, we can communicate. And I've tried this mind-to-mind communication with humans as well, but it can be dangerous. And again, this is why it's a secret knowledge, because when you start messing around with this stuff, you can cause trouble. But I did.
I'll tell you what, Bim Jim, I really do love everything we're listening to right now, but I only have about 2 more minutes before I can bring the next guest on. So I just want to know if there's anything that you would like to share about that time frame and where people can find and support you. Please let us know, because I have so many more questions for you, especially in regards to we didn't even get to dig into the first experience you had going up the hill, and then I mean, let's admit it, that kind of mind-blowing sentence by you that you can go invisible. That, I mean, that's a big statement. That's huge.
Well, many people can do these things. I meet people who know what I know, and there's a lot of them around, and they'll talk to me, we'll talk to each other, but I can't talk to regular people about this stuff. They don't get it. Hey,
I understand. I can imagine. Well, I'll tell you what, where can people find or support you, though? If you want to plug anything real quick, please do that, and then we really appreciate your time.
My YouTube page is there, Bim Jim. If you search that, Bim Jim, you can search it in Google searcher, and you'll find me. I got like about 80 videos on there, I think. They're all kinds of weird stuff. But the one video I made so far, I've only made one, where I tell about going through the portal the first time I went through it, and how I knew there was something very strange up there. And when I told you about my pickup truck driving through the portal, that was the second time I went through the portal. And on my YouTube page, there is a video where I explain the first time I went through the portal.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna take you backstage here. Once again, we thank you for coming on and sharing this story. I know Joe and Ben have been wanting to talk to you for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised if Joe hits you up and is like, "Yo, Bim Jim, we need to come back on and we got to dig into this a little." He drops a lot on us. So
it's cool. Absolutely.
100%, brother. Well, you enjoy your evening, and happy early Halloween to you if you celebrate.
Thanks a lot, Bim Jim.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was a little interesting.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Yes, for anybody that's asking, Chad has dropped it in the chat here on YouTube. Bim Jim's channel there. I was about to, but he was ahead of me. He's faster. He's got those fast fingers. He was on it. He was ready to go. Man, guys, this is like a lot more than I was expecting. There was so much awesome I wanted to dig into with this first story, but then he was like, to the next part, and the next part, and then he was like, how I'm invisible, and I'm like,
yeah,
whoa, like.
You think when a guest cancels, you're like, oh man, this is going to be a slow show. What are we going to do?
You're right.
And yeah, it's like jam packed. It's awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Next we have, and if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. I'm hoping I'm getting it right, but I'm saying JoJo Bone, and we're going to bring him in and see what he has to share with us. So, JoJo, first of all, thank you for hopping on and spending your evening with us. And am I getting your name right here?
Yeah, man, you really are. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You sound great.
I'm sorry. I'm in my home studio now. I've got a lot of gear here, but it's not recognizing my microphone right now. So I'm going through the mic on the camera. So let me know if it sounds bad.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah, you're definitely coming through loud and clear for sure.
All right. Well, that's a Logitech camera, so I get no money for that plug.
Hey, that's what I'm using too. They're not too great with their focuses, but the audio is not too bad.
There we go. Yeah, it got me on a focus there.
Me and Big
I throw up my hand. That's what I'm using too. I have a lot
hopefully
I will admit.
Hopefully it'll figure it back out. But
oh yeah, it always finds its home.
I think it was in focus until I leaned up.
Yep.
I don't know.
It got all confused.
Right. Sometimes what I do is I'll completely cover the camera with my hand and then bring it back out, and then it'll fix itself that way a little bit. Sometimes.
Working. Who knows? It didn't happen. I gave him a plug, right? And that's what happened. Oh, God.
So what'd you think? I apologize. I didn't expect to have this many people hopping on. And for those that are still waiting backstage, I really appreciate your patience. A lot of people hopped on there tonight. So what do you think so far? Some of these stories coming through, and what did you want to share with us tonight?
Well, I'm having a lot of fun listening to you guys. I just discovered you tonight by, I guess it was fate or an accident or something. A happy accident. Let's call it that.
Heck yeah.
I discovered you. And I have a radio program here, and I'm in Taylor, Texas right now. And
that's right where Ben and Joe live.
That's where this podcast is. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right? Okay. So we have some people, and the way I discovered you as I was looking up. Okay, so let me back up. My radio program, is on a little internet broadcast station.
Okay.
In Taylor, Texas, KBSR.
Nice.
And you can look it up and find it and get listen whatever you want. But and I was looking up. I know that there is a show coming December 4th to the KBSR radio station is attached to the Black Sparrow music parlor. It's called. So it's a live music venue. And one of the things they're bringing on December 4th is a UFO program, and the people bringing it are UFO Garage. Now that's how I stumbled onto you guys, but I don't know if it's the same. UFO Garage. Is it the same?
Yeah, I'm almost willing to bet that that's the weekend that they're doing their live event there, and I believe it is going to be in Taylor, Texas. If I'm wrong about that, boys, I apologize. What I do is I'm in Michigan, so is Chad, and I just do a weekend show for them on Saturdays. They normally run Thursdays. They call it Thirsty Thursdays. And, but yeah, Ben and Joe are right there in Texas, so I believe that is December 4th, and they put out an invite to a couple people.
Cool.
I believe you probably have the right one.
Okay, very cool. So now explain to me, how are they associated with what I'm experiencing here tonight? Are they part of your show?
No, they're the ones that started. It's their show. I run a weekend, just the Saturdays for them. So it's Ben and Joe's show. They started UFO Garage podcast about 2.5 years ago. Okay. And it's just become an extension of all these different family members that hang out, whether it be in this chat, Spaced Out Radio is another one where a lot of us have met, and now we even got like the Paranormal Chop Shop that's popped up. So there's a lot of groups. If you go on, I'm sure you're familiar. You go on YouTube and you start to go through these different lives. You'll start to run into the same people. We kind of have some of the same interests. Yeah. And start running into each other again.
Well, you guys are doing a fabulous job. I've really enjoyed myself this evening. So how long are you all on the air tonight?
We have about another 50 minutes, and what we're doing is we're pre-gaming for Lynn Wallington will be going on tonight. I got to look up, maybe if you get a chance, Chad, if you can check that out, see if she's going to have on tonight. Yep. So we just pre-game for her from 9 p.m. our time till 12 a.m., and then that's when she takes over. She goes live for Spaced Out Radio on the weekends. Cool. And but yeah, I had a guest cancel tonight. We had a kind of a lady set up to cover Ingrid Cold and The Land Between the Lakes and some other stuff, and the Mothman, and we were going to dig into that, and unfortunately some stuff.
Love Mothman.
I know, right?
Love Mothman.
I was excited. I'm not going to lie, but this has been great too. I mean, this week I did not think in my lifetime, I'll be honest, that I'd have someone come up to me and say, "Hey, I can go invisible." I mean, and I'm not saying he can't, because I'm not there to say he can or he can't.
Right.
Or cannot, but that was a lot. I mean, that I wasn't expecting.
Well, the way I am, I love this stuff. I love all the paranormal stuff. It's a lot of fun, and I love talking about it. Sometimes, bear with me, sometimes it's kind of a reach to believe some of the stories, but I do always respect everybody, and I do enjoy hearing the stories and talking about the stories and kicking it around. You know what I mean? I love it. I really love it. Well, my radio show is kind of evolving right now. I've done 9 episodes so far. I do a show every week, and it's the JoJo Bone Show on KBSR. So if anybody wants to look that up, I'm on let's see, Monday nights from 10 to midnight.
There you go.
And then there's a repeat of my show on Saturdays from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. And my show, the format of my show, I'm evolving it, but what I want to get to is pretty much mostly conversation. I like talking about paranormal things. Let me just say, stories of high strangeness. Anything that's weird, I love talking about that. I interview bands that appear at the Black Sparrow.
Heck yeah.
And I do that, and then some bumper music. So I'm slowly switching over to just a few bumper music kind of tunes in between my talk sections, where I'm talking about, I'm talking to people about, high strangeness, or I'm talking to bands. And sometimes they end up the same conversation. Everybody loves talking about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
Absolutely.
And everybody has a story. I mean, I can share a story or two that I have if you have time.
100%. Yeah, we got you to about 11:25 here. So
okay. This story didn't happen to me. It happened to my mother and father, and they conveyed it to me. It happened when I was in college. So I was away at school, and my parents were kind of going through kind of a hard time, and they're through some bumps in their life at that time. Mm-hmm. And so they went out one day and took a little car ride, to kind of relieve stress, kind of take a little country drive. And they went, and my dad was a very smart man and a trained engineer. He didn't get confused easily, right? Especially geographically, which is where I'm going to get to on this story. And so they kind of turned out of their driveway, went down a country road, turned right, very simple, went down a little further, and they saw this beautiful little park along the side of the road. And they described it as an Ernie Pyle Park. Now, I don't really know what an Ernie Pyle Park is. Do you guys?
No.
I could take a guess, but
I think it's, they were children during the Depression, and I think Ernie Pyle was one of those government program kind of things, to put men to work and to work on infrastructure and so forth. Okay. And that was just one little thing that they did, to make these things apparently called Ernie Pyle Parks. And they were sweet little parks, with a pavilion and maybe a swing set, and just to beautify the communities. And this one, though, my parents lived out in the country at this time in Indiana, and lots of cornfields. And this Ernie Pyle Park was cut out along the side of the road, cut out of a cornfield. It was like maybe a half an acre to an acre, a very small park. But in their eyes, it was extremely beautiful, and it made them feel good. It took the pressure off. Something about it was magical. And so they said, what we need to do? We need to come back next weekend, ride our bikes. They had these bikes that they never rode, They say, hey, this is an excuse to ride our bikes. So we'll make a nice picnic lunch, and we'll ride down to the Ernie Pyle Park, have this beautiful experience, right? Because it made them feel good. Well, a week goes by, and they're all excited, and they get their picnic lunch all made, and they put it on their bikes. They go ride, and they go down the road, and then they turn right, and they go down the road. The park is not there. Okay, so this is weird. Okay, my dad does not get lost. And this was so simple. It was just one turn from their house, right? It was down the country road, turn right, down another country road, this park that made them feel joyful. And of course, I was away at college. And by the way, this was my first semester at college. So, I came back after like one semester of psychology. And of course, I had all the answers because I was 18, 19. And I knew everything, right? So I said, Mom, Dad, let me explain to you. I'll explain carefully and slowly so you understand. Let me explain to you what was happening here. And I went into a bunch of BS about shared hallucinations and things. I just grabbed and studied everything I had learned in my first semester in psychology. Right? And of course, I was an expert. And it, pardon my language, pissed my dad off to no end. Because, he didn't need an 18-year-old telling him what he didn't see, right? This was simply a shared hallucination, Dad.
Right.
Okay, that's all it was. But it was quite different to them. And what's now that I'm much older, it's been my experience that these types of things are very real to people. And who am I to say it did or did not happen?
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. I don't know what happened. Who knows what happened? But it was real to them. It was vividly real to them. And it made them feel, this is the important thing, I think. It made them feel good at an otherwise bad time in their lives.
Mm.
It was an escape. And it was also very near an Air Force base that occasionally there have been UFO sightings, like we all know, that happen around Air Force bases very frequently,
Yeah.
right? And so there was paranormal things that happened in the area, but nothing specific that I can recall other than my parents' story. And I'll never forget that. And I don't know if I ever apologized to my parents for my arrogance. But, when you're 19 years old or 18 or whatever I was, it's hard. It's hard to hold it back. You're learning all this stuff and, you just have all the answers. And so it was pretty crazy, a pretty crazy thing. And I've never had anything like that happen to me personally, but I would love it. I would welcome it. It would be crazy. And I did have a UFO sighting, though.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, boy.
About 7 or 8 months ago now, maybe 9.
Oh, wow. Pretty recent.
Yeah. And I was heading home from a little town next to Taylor called Elgin. And, it was about 2 a.m. in the morning. I was visiting friends. And what happened was I'm driving home, and up in front of me, going very slowly, is a triangular arrangement of 3 red lights, right? Making no noise, appeared to be maybe, a couple of thousand feet in the air, but hard to judge the distance because really all I could see were the 3 red lights. And now I'm not an expert in aviation, but it's my understanding that a triangular pattern of 3 red lights is very unusual because usually they're red and blue or something.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's an aircraft, so you know which direction the aircraft is traveling. And I recall as I drove, it was approaching me and I drove underneath it and I slowed down and it made absolutely no sound. It went right over the top of me and slowly went over me and disappeared. And I thought, wow, this is my first UFO experience. This makes no sense, that made no sound whatsoever, 0 sound. And these lights were arranged perfectly in a equilateral triangle and did not vary. They were like locked together and drifting over me very slowly. And I remember thinking, do I want to take a ride tonight? I don't know. I was thinking, I hope they bring me back.
What's really going to happen here?
I don't need a physical examination tonight.
Yeah, you don't need to wait. You don't want to wake up on the beach wearing a bikini or something.
Right? Yeah, I don't want any of that kind of thing.
Oops, so we put him back in the wrong spot.
Yeah, we put him back in the wrong spot, and And it's just crazy things like that happen to people. But
Apollo was asking a question here I think is pretty interesting too, and they were saying, how big was it and how high, if you had to, guesstimate from that experience.
Well, I'd say the altitude was probably maybe 1,000 feet. Okay. Difficult to say because it was night, but I'd say about 1,000 feet, and maybe the size would be maybe, I don't know, 50 to 100 yards on a side, something like that. And but extremely strange, absolutely no sound whatsoever. It floated right over the top of me.
Very
Just
interesting.
very crazy. So maybe they're listening in right now. Hey guys.
We always say, that's what I tell people. I say, we never know where this is going. Who knows how far this goes out? We really don't know who will be listening and what time you'll be listening in. There could be somebody in the future one day who's listening back to old-timey podcasts, that people used to get on and do, and this might be out there. We don't know. I tell you what, JJ Bone, I agree that I feel like Ben and Joe would love to have you on and do a full interview with you. As I felt with everybody tonight, I apologize for having such short timing with everybody. But also, too, right here, if you look up this one, I'm going to pull them up on here. This is Wayne's channel. Him and his wife, Michelle, have a podcast in Michigan as well, the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters. If you want to get in touch with them, they had quite an encounter with a triangled craft as well, a black triangle, a little bit different. But these black triangles or these triangle shapes are not something that seem to be fading away at all. So maybe if you type that in or you look that one up a little bit or you click on their name, you might be able to get in touch with them. And then just one last time, would you mind plugging where we can find you and let people know about that?
Yes. If you look up Black Sparrow Music Parlor.com, that's 4 words, but the internet address is no spaces. I'm sorry. Black Sparrow Music Parlor.com/radio. You'll see it'll go to the page for the radio station, and you can click there and start listening to the broadcast. And my show is on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Central Time for 2 hours. And then the repeat of that broadcast is on Saturdays, the following Saturdays, from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning.
Very nice. Well, I'll tell you what, this was a real I'm sorry, go ahead, Chad. Did you have something
I was just going to say, I'm putting that in the chat right now. I found it.
Perfect.
You found it?
Yep. Pretty cool website. Looks pretty sweet.
Heck yeah. Well, brother, I want to thank you for hopping on here and sharing that story. That I love stories where the time just kind of disappears. But I'm going to move you back stage. Feel free, you can hang out there or you can hop off, however you want to do that. And we really appreciate you hopping on here and sharing those 2 stories with us, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Now, do I refer to you as Big Willie?
You sure thing. Whatever you
Big
like
Willie.
to call. Yes, sir.
And Chad Smith, which is a great jazz drummer, or isn't that the drummer for
the Chili Peppers.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Chili Peppers. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have the same bank account, but got the same name. I got the name,
okay.
but it's not the cash.
That's okay, man. That's okay.
We
That's
love
okay. It's hard to be humble, I know.
That's right. I'm trying.
All right, brother. You have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks,
good
you guys.
Really good meeting you.
You take care. Bye.
Man, dude,
that's
I
awesome.
feel like
he just happened to find us.
I know, right? That there's been 2 other ones I've seen that just came in here out of the blue, kind of randomly tonight too.
That's awesome.
So we appreciate everybody who's jumped in here, and like Chad said, he's got the website chat tagged there in the comment section. So if you guys want to click on that and check him out later, that would be awesome. Let's see. Up next, really quick too, can I ask, did you find out maybe who Lynn Wallington has on tonight, or did they not put it out
Lynn
yet?
Wallington tonight, she is covering UAP regression with Lori McDonald.
Heck yeah. You guys make sure you check them out. Obviously, Lynn, both Dave and Lynn, honestly, I don't know, they're both good, man. They're both really good. You know what I mean?
Solid
I don't think Dave would take any offense to me saying that Lynn is just as solid as him. Maybe a little bit different approach in what she does, and I think we all love it, but just as solid.
Absolutely.
So it looks like we have Joshua Casey, which he did. If you guys haven't checked his interview out, he just had an interview about 2 weeks ago with Ben and Joe, and he came on and shared a lot of his experiences. So we're gonna bring him on here for a couple minutes and hang out. Like I said, I have put it. Oh man, I just realized something, guys. If I slide down, there's more people in here. We have more people in the chat, so I might try to shorten them from 20. Maybe we can. Let's see if we can pump out like the next 3. We'll give you guys like 10 minutes each, 8 to 10 minutes if we can. And you guys come on to share a little bit of a story or anything you want to share here, and we'll get going. So, Joshua, what's happening, brother? Appreciate you hopping on here with us tonight.
How's it going, man? Y'all hear me good?
Yeah, it sounds
You
good,
sound
man.
beautiful.
I didn't expect to be doing this, but the topic tonight, I was actually wanting to share some of this last week with Ben and Joe, and I didn't really have the time, so figure now will be a good time. I know you got some other guests, so I'm gonna try to get this out as quick as I can.
Oh, we love it. Go for it.
And in a weird way, it kind of links up with my UFO sightings, to be honest, or mainly orbs. I know I mentioned that last week. So I guess the best way for me to do this is to start at the beginning. A few months before I was born, my great grandfather, and there's gonna be 2 people in the story. I need to differentiate my grandfather and my great grandfather. And my great grandfather, he was a full-blooded Blackfoot Native American, actually, and I honestly feel like that might play a role in this. Well, a couple months before I was born, unfortunately, some robbers broke in his house and killed him. They actually one of them hit him in the head with a hammer, and he passed away. Well, the day that I was born, and this is going to sound really bizarre, and I want to put this out there first that nobody else in my family has any kind of story like this. My mother and my grandmother were in the hospital with me, and for like this split moment, they say that and they told me this story my entire life. I'm sorry, can you see me? My camera flipped upside down. That was weird. So they're in the room with me, and I don't know how to put it into words. They don't know how to put it into words, but my grandmother and my mother, they say that for like a split moment, they saw my great grandfather in me. And I'm less than 24 years old. I'm a newborn baby, and I don't understand what that means. It sent my mother kind of into a bit of a shock, to be honest. She said she actually got emotional, started tearing up, and freaked out. And they both said that they felt something kind of like a surge of electricity going through their body at the time. And my whole life, I took this as, just a nice story. They always said that they thought, maybe he was watching over me in some type of way. Now, especially after some conversations, I was literally just talking to Chris Bledsoe Sr. about this yesterday, and he thinks it plays a big role in the orbs that I've been seeing here lately. Well, I need to jump forward. Sorry, let me back up just a little bit. My mother, the best way she can explain this to me, she said that she saw my great grandfather's face, I guess, like in me somehow, but there was like an aura around me, and it was just for like half a second. But it freaked both out, but they both saw the same thing. And I just took this as a nice story my entire life. Well, when I'm in high school, I'm about 16 years old. One day I come home from school, and I'd been working out a lot. I was on the football team at the time. I came home and I laid down on my couch, just take a nap, sorry. And I apologize. I get a little emotional talking about this.
Well, take your time.
I have this dream, and it's one of the most, if not the most pivotal thing that's ever happened in my life. And I'm going to try to go through this step by step as quick as I can. In this dream, I literally wake up on my couch exactly where I'm laying down. And when I first woke up in my dream, I thought I woke up. As soon as I stood up, I had this intense vertigo. And I mean, to tell you, to this day, I can remember the way that it felt. It felt like my head was spinning, like my head was pounding, and it felt physical, like actual physical, God, I got chills right now just talking about this. I fell straight to the floor. Like I fall down, and everything is spinning. I literally have to use the wall to prop myself up. And I pull myself up, and I'm trying to work my way down the hallway to get to what would have been my old bedroom. And the entire time, this vertigo, it's just hitting me so hard. And I opened this door to go into what should have been my old bedroom. And when I walk into this room, it's not my old bedroom. It's this big, empty, square room. And my vertigo immediately stops. And I'm not spinning anymore. I'm just really confused, trying to figure out what's going on. And like I said, to this day, I can remember this dream step by step. And that's another thing. My dreams are usually scattered. This dream was linear. I can literally remember every single step, every detail. I think about it almost every single day. Well, there was a man sitting in the middle of this room in a chair, like in a fold-out steel chair. And he's just sitting there, and he has an empty chair in front of him facing him. And this man has white hair. He has a hat on. And I'm really confused. So I just walk up and I sit down in his chair, and this man tells me, he says, "It's nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you." And he kind of nods his head behind him, and there's a door in the back of this room behind him. And he says, "There's somebody out there that wants to see you." So I'm still just really confused, and I apologize. My heart is beating. This dream really is, it plays a big part of, it literally changed me. It changed everything about me. Well, I get up and I walk out to this through this door at the back of this room. And whenever I open up this door to go to this, through the back of this room, I'm immediately in front of my grandparents' house, my grandmother and my grandfather. Not my great grandfather, who was killed, before I was born, but my grandmother, who's still alive today, and my grandfather. He actually passed away whenever I was about 7 or 8 years old. It was their house, and it was painted the same color it was before my grandfather had passed away. So I walk up to this door, and something inside of me, I knew that whenever I knocked on this door, somehow that I was going to see my grandfather. And me and my grandfather were extremely close whenever I was a kid. So I knock on the door, and sure enough, like, when the door opens, it's him. It's my grandfather. And I mean to tell you, I can remember him better in this dream than I can as a child. Thinking about it right now, it's like he was standing right there in front of me. And I tried to say something to him. I immediately got choked up, and I just got emotional, to be honest. I started breaking down. And he just, he hugged me. He said, "Everything's going to be okay." And immediately I woke up. And whenever I woke up, I felt this feeling in my body I've never felt in my life. It was like I was in shock. It was a mix of so many different emotions. It was almost like scared, freaked out, but at the same time I was happy that I got to see my grandfather.
Right.
And I apologize if I sound like I'm getting a little choked up talking about this.
No,
but,
you're fine, dude.
It was intense. It was, so intense. So I get up and I go tell my sister about it. My younger sister, she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. She didn't know what was going on. She was a little bit younger than me at the time. But I go to tell my mother about this, and my mother, she's half Native American as well. I know I don't look it very much, but I'm a quarter Blackfoot myself. What really caught my mother, not just the fact that I saw her father in my dream, was the first man in the dream that I talk about, the man who was sitting in a chair. The way that I described him, my mother, she immediately picked up the phone and she called my grandmother, and it was her yard who I was, in the dream. Whenever I knocked on the door, she calls her and starts talking about it. And what's really crazy, and it trips me out to this day, the way that I explained him, down to the detail of what he was wearing, the hat, the color of his hair, fit an identical description to my great grandfather, the one who passed away before I was born. And I need to tell you, I've never seen a picture of this man in my entire life. He was just a really, sealed off person. I've never seen a picture of him to this day. Nobody has a picture of him. That's just, he's kind of like an isolated person. It was really bizarre. And, my mother had always told me in my entire life, from that first experience I told you about whenever I was born, that she thought that he was, like a guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. And I mentioned something on my podcast with Ben and Joe about me believing that I have somebody watching over me because of a bad car accident that I was in. Well, that's something else I need to get into. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can.
No problem.
So,
We got about 2 minutes for you, brother.
okay. So almost exactly a year after I have this insane dream, I get into this horrible head-on collision with a drunk driver, and I'm stuck in this vehicle for. I was literally stuck in this car for an hour and a half. I mean, when I woke up, the first thing I remember was spitting out my teeth. I mentioned on my podcast last week with Ben Joe that minutes, if not seconds before I got into this car accident, I put both my feet out the passenger window. I kind of just crossed my feet and leaned my seat back, and the truck hit me, and I was pinned in. And what's really insane is the car was crushed in on my side, and the dashboard was pushed all the way up against me. If my feet would have been inside of the car, both my legs would have been completely crushed. And I don't know what made me do that. I can't think of any time in my entire life that I put both my feet out the window. It was just something insane. I guess intuition, whatever you want to call it. One other thing, I mean, there's a lot of things I could really talk about with this, but I need to get this in here really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I spent a week in a coma after this car accident. My jaw was wired shut for 4 months. I spent 6 months in a wheelchair. I had to go through another year of physical therapy. I literally had to learn how to walk all over again. The doctors told me I would probably be on a cane within a few years, and I'm still walking today, so it's a blessing there.
Heck yeah.
About 5 years after this car accident, now I spent a lot of time going through depression. I went through addiction through painkillers, which I've beaten that addiction, but about 5 years after this car accident, and I can prove this today, and I also mentioned this on the podcast last week. Today, I mean, right now, the man who hit me, who almost killed me, he lives directly across the street from my mother. It's insane. It's like something in a movie, and I mean, I'm not making this up. I can prove this right now. One day I'm gonna get this in here real quick. One day I'm going to my mother's house, and it was just eating me up because I've been letting this, this anger just take over me, this depression, having to go to my mother's house knowing that this man who, screwed up my life so much lives right across the street from my mom. And even my mom, she still tells me today that she has trouble waking up, and seeing this guy across the street from me and or from her. And he was actually running for senator of Robeson County. He fled the scene of the car accident and left me and my best friend, his little sister, for dead. Well, I'm going to my mom's house, and I felt this something just like this urge came over me. I pulled my car over to the side of the road, and I pulled out a scrap piece of paper, and I wrote down. Initially, I thought I was just going to be writing this for myself, but I wrote down on this paper that I forgive this man. I'm not going to let this anger control me for the rest of my life. Well, I go up to my mom's house, and I see this guy, and he's outside feeding his chickens. And my heart's pounding telling y'all this right now. I apologize. Instead of pulling to my mom's driveway, and one thing that really hit me is I'm thinking to myself, on one side of the street, I have the person who gave me life. On the other side of the street is the person who almost took away my life. So instead of pulling into the driveway to go to my mother's house, I go into this man's yard, and I get out my car. I walk to him. My heart's pounding out my chest, and I hand him this letter. I literally shake the hand of the man who almost killed me. And I gave him this letter, and I can't even remember what I said to him, to be honest. But I handed it to him. I turned around, and I walked away. Now, it didn't occur to me until just here recently, whenever I spoke with Chris Bledsoe Sr. about this, that it was the same year it was the same summer that I handed this man this letter that I had my first UFO sighting at the Kicker River. And that's, synchronicity, call it what you will. I don't believe these things happen on accident. There was really a lot more things I wanted to get in there, but I try to cram this in there.
Oh, you did great, brother. You did great. And I'm sorry I wish if I had known that this many people were going to share tonight, I would have maybe cut down the times in the beginning. I apologize, guys. We'll have to set something like this again for sure. and we'll get a little better at it. I think Chad's rocking it out. I got to work on it. I'll figure it out. But we appreciate each and every one of you sharing. If there's anywhere that anybody can follow you or anything, if you'd like to plug that, let them know, and then I'll take you backstage. I can bring on Sunsaver here.
Not at the moment, but actually, I've been speaking with my MUFON investigator, and she's a really great lady. She's been telling me I need to set up my own podcast, get something going. I saw 4 orbs the night after my podcast, the one I had on UFO Garage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps.
A couple other really bizarre things. I saw my first I don't know, shadow figure. What do you call them? The Bledsoes have told me about the shadow people. I'm not gonna lie, it scared the shit out of me. The night after I spoke with Ben and Joe, I see 4 orbs, and I go to lay down that night, and the shadow figure, whatever, walks to my fucking kitchen as I'm sorry about my language.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Honestly, that scared the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still working on dealing with that. But yeah, it's definitely something else. But yeah, my MUFON investigator has been telling me I need to get my own podcast or do something,
Sure.
I really appreciate y'all letting me share this.
Hey, thanks a lot, Joshua. I never talked to you before, but I appreciate you coming on. It's good meeting you.
Oh yeah, you too, man. Thank you. Y'all doing an awesome job, man.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks a lot, man.
You have a good night, brother. Stay safe and reach out to Ben and Joe for sure. If anything else crazy happens, man, let them know.
Oh yeah, I've sent them a few emails.
Heck
All
yeah.
right.
All right. Peace, brother. Have a good night.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Man, this is amazing. So what I'll do is I want to bring on Sonny and Lewis at the very end to kind of do a closing with us. So Sunsaver, I'm gonna try and give you about 10 minutes if we can, give or take, and we'll bring you on here, and then we'll get Lynn Wallington rolling over there with SOR. Man, guys, I wish we could just spend more time to I want to go in depth on every single one of these stories.
This is how 7-hour podcasts happen.
I'm telling you. Yeah, like he said, Shadow People was the top. I agree. All right, so Sunsaver, I want to thank you first of all for making the time to come on tonight. How are we doing?
Hey.
How's it going tonight?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Do you by any chance have actually it's not that bad, the echo is not that bad because it will let you do the talking. But do you by any chance have any earphones or anything like that?
I do. I have some here. Let's try that right here. Let's see.
That's all right. We want to appreciate you. Obviously, you've always come on and supported the show through SOR or through us. We've seen quite a few of them supporting us. We really, really appreciate that, by the way.
Yes. Well, I enjoy the show very much.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. So tell us, what do you, in roughly 8 to 10 minutes, what stories do you bring us here in Old Blue as we continue to travel the cosmos and start slowly heading for home? Actually, we're speeding up for home right now.
heading in.
Oh, you might have cut out there, brother. You still there? Let's try see Sunsaver. I'll see. Can you go ahead and mess with it for just a second? See if you can get your audio back. I'll see if it changed the audio on you. Let's see.
We still have your video, just don't have your audio. Doesn't say you're muted though.
Let me try this. I'm gonna send the link over on the right in the private message real quick. I'm just gonna put you backstage, and then what I'll do is let me do this. Here we go. I'm going to send it in the private message in the back so you can just click on that and then join right back in. You might have to leave, but let me try just adding you right back in first to see if that works. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. Let me add it here in the back. Man, Chad, so what do you think so far today? What are your thoughts while I'm sending some of this over here? What do you think? Did you expect this? What are your thoughts on this?
I did not expect this, but 3 hours goes by so fast when you're hearing this kind of stuff. I mean,
so fast.
I keep getting... I don't know about you, but I keep getting goosebumps at certain times, and it's almost like the goosebumps are when something's in here with us. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. When I get goosebumps, it's like, yeah, we hear you. We hear what you're talking about. We're there. We're right there with you.
100%. All right, let's see. I'm going to let him try and hopefully get that in place. By the way, let's give a couple shout outs to everybody that's in the chat. You guys have been amazing tonight. You guys have been so supportive of those reaching out. Let's first of all give a hand to everybody that is shared here tonight as much as we can, because really, truly, guys, more than just those that have been able to listen and hear this, it means a lot to me. Like I think helping people open up about this stuff. Sometimes there's so much that we're carrying with us and baggage that I think other people are carrying it with us or along, or they're with you carrying that same baggage and you just don't know about it. So this has been amazing to kind of open this up, and we're going to have to, I don't know, Ben and Joe, you guys might have to start doing an extra show a week for the two of you guys too. Just start bringing people on.
Yeah, just some experience
to share.
Show. Yeah.
100%. Let's see. Sunsaver, let me see. Brother, if you can hear me, so what I was going to do is I was going to have you copy and paste that link in the back in the private chat, and then go and actually leave the chat and then come right back in, and I'll try and add you that way, okay? We'll try that out.
Yeah, hopefully
Chad, so what do you think
that works out.
For your first ever podcast, as people are saying, party. Campbell right here.
Yeah, this is actually going really well. It's taken me a little while to warm up to the microphone, but I think I'm feeling like I'm slowly, getting the hang of it. Sometimes I come to a dead end. And I'm like, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Like even through school, I'd read a book and I'd read like a paragraph and then I'd have no idea what I just read. And it kind of happens with this stuff too, but I'm getting there.
Well, I mean,
need some ginkgo biloba or something.
Oh, for sure. Dude, and by the way, shout out, guys. In case somebody doesn't know, I literally hit chat up like, what, an hour and a half, maybe an hour before the show?
Yeah.
And all I did was say, hey, Chad, are you working tonight? And he was like, do you need me? Tell me you need me. Do you need me right now? Because I'll be there. And I said,
we scrambled.
We did.
Yep.
I don't see Bim Jim back in here, unfortunately. I'm going to try to put it back in the, or not Bim Jim, I'm sorry. Sunsaver. I'm going to try and put it back in the chat again. Hopefully we can get him back in. If not, we'll have to set up a time to maybe bring him on and see if... All right, I put it back in the chat. But if not, what I might do for a minute is I might bring on Sonny and Lewis just so that we can do some closing thoughts here on all of this and kind of wrap it up just in case we don't get Sunsaver back. It's always something with the audio, man. It's always with the audio. And then we'll be rolling on over, as you all very well know, Lynn Wallington tonight. I do apologize. You said it was UAPs, and what was the other part? I missed who she had on.
Tonight she's doing UAP regression with Lori McDonald.
It's gonna be good times. Good times
I will
for sure.
drop that link to.
Yeah. So while you're dropping that in the chat, I'm gonna bring on our man Sonny from the Paranormal Chop Shop and his co-host right here, Lewis Lipblade, or Lipblade Lewis, however you want to go.
That is me. What's up, gentlemen? How y'all doing, man?
Oh, doing great.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Man, what a show,
long time no see.
Like, oh yeah, it was a great. Last night we partied hard. I guess it was pretty cool, man. We had a good time.
Did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Wow, what a show, man! I've been listening the whole time. This has been amazing. Everybody coming on, like this, like I really wanted to see that. Like people come on every time and just get their experiences. I thought that was pretty freaking awesome, man. It's not about us; it's about them.
Really quick, guys. I just got. Oh, go ahead, Sonny. I was gonna say I just got Sunsaver back, so I'm gonna try to pop him in a second. But go ahead. What were we gonna say?
No, nothing. Go ahead. Try to bring him back in.
All right, let's try this out again. Well, here we go, Sunsaver. All right, I can hear your mic this time. So,
yep.
Hey, folks, how's it going?
Not too bad. How about yourself tonight?
Brother? Can you hear me at all? I'm good.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Here, man. Thank you for being in the chat.
Hey, thanks for having me. Oh yeah, I'm always here. I watch the show all the time.
For sure. I know we always see you and we're always chatting away.
You're freezing up, man.
Did you have oh man, did it cut his audio?
Oh yeah, it did cut his audio again.
My goodness.
I think it's his internet connection and it just goes to video. I don't know. What's up with that?
Maybe you need to turn your camera off and just go audio.
Yeah, try that. Try that out, Sunsaver. Try to move go just audio if you can.
No, he looks frustrated. He's like,
I think he's telling us he has. I think he's telling us he has beautiful. That's the same kind of hair I have. Let's see.
Man, I want to hear him so bad.
I know.
Man.
Hey, Sunsaver, are you able to turn your camera off? Like it should say stop cam, and then maybe that'll save your.
Well, that's a beautiful smile right there.
That is a beautiful smile.
Beautiful smile. Frozen smile in time.
Oh man, I don't know what's. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Guess he's not in the picture, man. I'm sorry, man. We want to hear you, man.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do,
Can't hear
Sunsaver.
anything.
I'm gonna move you backstage for just a minute. Oh, there's a beautiful face right there. I'll tell you what.
Hey,
Hi.
that's Chad Smith.
Sunsaver, do me a
fucking
favor.
legend.
You can hit me up on email. At oh man, I always forget my own email. I gotta get better at this. It's Big
Yeah.
Willy. I'll put it on
I'm
the screen.
terrible at that stuff.
Here we go.
So,
Big Willy at UFOGaragePodcast.com. Email me on there, and we'll get a time set up either with myself or Joe and Ben to maybe I'm sure I'll talk to Ben after the show here tonight. I'm sure he's gonna want to maybe start running something like this, maybe once a week or every other week. For people to maybe every other week. I don't know. It's their show, so I never want to say like what they're gonna do.
Yes.
But
yes.
I think they would be open to start running something very similar to doing this often.
We have 7 minutes before SOR comes on, so I wanted to say something which I wanted to say earlier, like with the whole show thing, like what I've been listening to, like, man, like imagine you're like your past, your people that passed away, that it's your family, you know, like your grandpa, you know, like to me, like I remember like just seeing him in my dreams. Like I wonder if, like, honestly, like that's what I want to reach out to the chat. Like, do you believe that actually there's like, you know, your past like people come to you in your dreams and actually are there, you know, or when you're walking around, when you do something stupid. I remember I was like, damn it, my grandma's there. You know what I'm saying? Like I always thought about that, you know, like don't do that, Lewis. You know, like I always thought about that. Like, you know, those people that made you, you know, they're actually there, even though they've passed, you know, like
right.
I believe that there's always around, you know.
Yeah, no,
I
get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think they're always around because I think they're, you know, we're all just energy, like big balls of energy, and like everyone says, you can't what do they say? You can't destroy energy, or you can't kill energy, or something like that. Where energy always exists, and like you can shrink it down or move it here, move it there, but you can't actually destroy it. So I think if we're all built from energy, we're all built out of electrical impulses and all that stuff firing to make us work. I think once it's there, and just because it's not in a physical body doesn't mean it's not running through your electrical lines in your house, or you know,
I believe your ancestors make you or actually stop you from doing certain things, you know, like be like, hey man, don't do that, don't go over there, don't go with that girl, don't do this, don't do that,
like
Joshua's,
you know? Like Joshua's feet through the window, like he just
Yeah,
said he's never even remembered doing that ever in his life.
That's the reason I'm saying that. Like I'm like, man, like imagine that, you know, like, you know, like just somebody's always around you, you know, it makes you do certain decisions in your life. I think that's a great thing, you know.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, we got about 5 minutes. What I'd love to do, and if you could, in 60 seconds, and we'll start with Sonny. Sonny, have you ever had a paranormal experience, since we are talking ghosts a little bit tonight?
Yeah, and I know you see me backstage grabbing that tissue when Joshua was telling his story. Joshua, you made me tear up, man. That was great, man. That guy is awesome. When I was like, I want to say 5 or 6, I was pretty little. I woke up because someone was in my room. He was standing in my doorway. The door was open, and because I was asleep with the door shut when I was little, and I slept with the lights on, so it's not dark. I sleep with the light on. Door open, lights on, and my grandpa was standing in my doorway. And then once I woke up and seen him, it was no big deal until I realized that my grandpa had died. You know, and it was recently. He had just died, and I started screaming. It scared me, and it was just my grandpa, not scary looking or anything. And my mom came in the room and asked why I was crying, what the hell was wrong with me, because I was screaming. And I told her, you know, Grandpa's in my room, and she's saying, no, there's no one in here, and he's literally almost touching her. They're standing right next to each other. And so as a kid, I remember seeing that, and my mom is waving through him, you know, there's no one here. And yeah, this is lights on, you know, so those kind of things, man. Like when he says he's seen his grandpa, he's seen his grandpa. To me, he's seen his grandpa. I've seen mine.
Yeah.
You know, I remember saying he scared me, and then that was the last time. I never seen it again. Now that I'm older, I wish I wouldn't have said that scared me, because my grandpa loved me, you know, and I know he wouldn't want to scare me. So I think that's maybe why I didn't see it again.
And you, Chad?
Man, I just haven't had any. I keep saying I haven't had any experiences, but as soon as this podcast is over, I'm going to stand up. There's going to be a whole living room full of entities like, hey, we've been waiting.
Me,
Yes,
myself,
sir.
like, anytime I go, like, I remember my grandpa, like, that was when I grew up, I was 12 years old, and I used to, like, live in this bedroom, you know, no AC, whatever, and, like, anyways, my grandpa took that bedroom, because my mother took him in, and, I remember, like, he would always tell me, somebody's pulling on my feet. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're crazy, you know? Somebody's pulling on my feet, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, but actually, after he passed away, and I went back to that room, it's at my mother's house. If I go to sleep in that room, every once in a while, I feel somebody pulling on my feet. Like, literally, like somebody going, you know, like, I don't know what it means, but somebody's like, hey, wake up. I don't know what it means, but somebody's always checking me in that room. And it's like, that's why I don't even spend the night at my mom's house anymore, because of that. I just think it's crazy. Like, it used to happen to him, and I thought he was crazy. But once it started happening to me, I was like, holy shit. Like, he was real. But we don't know who lived in that house before. If anything happened in the house, you know, it's a 70s house. I don't know. How about you, Willie?
Right.
Oh, we'll have to save that for another time, gentlemen. We got 35 seconds, so I'm gonna get you all out of here. I love you guys so much, and I'm excited for having these basically extension of almost like family that we all get to hang out with nightly. So you guys all rock.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for having us on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you at
Yep.
SOR,
We'll party
guys.
hard some other time, man.
That's right. SOR, here we go, baby. And you guys can check out Paranormal Chop Shop every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. So, all right, guys.
Jojo,
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here, guys.
Hey,
Another great
Jojo
show.
looked like freaking Dave Scott, didn't he?
He did. He did.
He does. All right, guys. You have
All
a
right,
good
guys.
time, man.
As
See
we
you
always
guys.
say, wrapping them up here, as I always say, stay curious and keep it weird. Chad, I want to give a special shout out to you. Thank you for coming on and hanging out, and a special shout out to each and every person who came on and shared tonight. We love all of you guys. Have a good one. Let's go rock out at SOR, baby. We'll get it all set up. You guys, this is great stuff. I really mean that. I really appreciate all of you who have come on and shared tonight. So enough of my face. Let's get out of here. Let's go support Lynn Wallington and SOR over there with Dave Scott. You guys all have a good evening.